So here I am, doing everything I can, holding on to what I am, pretending I'm a Superman.
Well, I am trying to keep the ground at my feet because the world is going faster all around me. It was a good week for wrestling, wasn't it?
I don't think it could have gotten any greater than last week, but I was proven wrong immediately. There's so much great wrestling in every single great wrestling Fed, except the Fed, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about RPL. We're not going to talk about RPL, but that's okay. So episode 14, you know, we're into part two proper now. I think like the honeymoon period is over.
Well, before we begin, I do want to ask because I'm sure this is the talk of the town. This is what everyone has been saying, and I'm sure you have your sources. Do you have any kind of information about those rumors of G1 having a possible buyer?
What? I mean, there's a lot of moving parts, different factors to consider. That's something we can, possibly, maybe get into later. But it's something that we definitely might maybe get to later. Maybe.
We can catch up on that later. I'm sure we'll bring it up at some point.
Yeah. We got it all ready to go, right?
Yeah. If you need the time to finalize information to clear the check.
It's clearly ready to go. It's obviously like we're on top of it. Like the scoop is in, the check has cleared. It's just we just want to make absolutely sure that like every possible detail has been recorded.
Of course.
Yeah.
Sorry, you may continue then. I apologize for interrupting you.
I believe I was talking about honeymoon theories. So last week we made a lot of assertions, almost like predictions, as because we're the biggest wrestling fans. So it's almost like that we should be able to control the show, right? The booker should be listening to us specifically, as
Yes,
if I text
us the fans,
Amakusa during biggest fans. But if I text Amakusa during a match, he will listen to me, obviously. So we got a lot to talk about, a lot to refresh on, but a lot that we weren't expecting to happen this week.
Oh, for sure. We could start right at the beginning.
Yeah. And last week I said that if Apollo did not start the show, then it would be a crime of some sort. So someone's getting locked up because Apollo did not wrestle this week. He did not even show his face in the opener. Is this the end of the Apollo opener as we know it?
It could be, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing for Apollo, as we'll see later.
Oh yeah, we'll get into that. Like Apollo, he's on a different trajectory. He is, a new. So one could say a new backstory is being written for Apollo as we speak. But instead, it was Carlos going, opener to opener this week against Ryan Rave. Someone else who's he's had some high highs. He's been on the card a while, but he's fallen down a bit further.
Well, when you are a 40-year-old, young talent, 40 years old.
I mean, you say 40.
You have to pay your dues.
He wrestles like an 18-year-old. Like I've watched many 18.
No, that's what I mean. He's such a young talent, and because he's a young talent, you have to pay your dues sometimes. You can't always be in the main event. Sometimes you got to jerk that curtain.
Of course, and Ryan is someone who's in the locker room saying like, "I will gladly wrestle." The pre-show because he just loves wrestling so much, and he really loved wrestling this week. I'm just coming out and saying Carlos got his ass kicked. What happened here?
Well, what happened is plain and simple. Ryan Rave wanted to wrestle, and Carlos was not prepared to wrestle on that level. Not that I don't think so. Anyways,
I mean, you think on that level is Carlos? Can we even quantify him as a wrestler? Because you look at like his style, and you see that this man has no style. He has no grace. he will just uppercut you in the face.
One might say that he's a bruiser, but
But
I don't know.
Like,
Now that you bring it up,
angry person. Like he seems like a nice person. So like when he goes out there and he's just he's going for like punches, standard stuff. He's like a technician, magician, submission, derision. Like Ryan Rave just absolutely dismantled him. But even from like a striking aspect, there was a point of the work. Like Ryan Rave was just like dog walk comboing him like over and over and over again, and he had like a good 2 to 3 minutes, just no response, no counter. Last week we said,
kind of sad to watch.
We said, is this maybe like an uptick for Apollo? I think we were wrong. Is this maybe like a downfall of Carlos, which is such a wild thing to say for our 5-star general? Everyone loves him, but he didn't saying he failed to impress. He disappointed.
I'd have to agree. Because you have to think about Carlos's career, right? You remember I can't remember who was the champion at the time, but it was the troubleshooter feud, right? He was there, ground zero. A big part of that feud too, in case you forgot.
I'm drawing a blank here because I think Carlos. I think the Pixie feud. I think of the 5-star match, and then it's just like a mass of just white noise. It was like, oh yeah, Carlos is there, and that's okay. Like he doesn't have to be like on the ball, like top guy, because like I said, he doesn't really have like a style to like carry the match on his shoulders. But this is not what I was expecting from Carlos.
He's more of a promo guy, I'd have to say. But even then, he hasn't done much promo work in the Fed.
Exactly. So, if he's a promo guy, what's he doing in like the curtain jerk spot? Like, wasn't even like I could think of ways that could tie into.
I think he's being mishandled. I think Mod is mishandling him.
Well, I mean, like you can mishandle it, but like when you lose that definitively, I don't think you can find a place to fit someone like that. So, maybe Carlos, he could be looking for a change of scenery. AEW always hiring. So
always hiring.
I'm not saying it's inevitable. God knows they could definitely use another TFR guy, but who knows? Carlos. I'm not saying he's like bottom 3 this week. I wouldn't go that far. He's still Carlos, but very disappointing. Almost to the point where like it overshadows Ryan's victory. It was more like Carlos's defeat. I
think you put it very well. It really does feel like that. Carlos just got his ass absolutely handed to him. And even in like if you look at the spots, it's just Carlos getting demolished. The match bell to bell was about 6-7 minutes, maybe even 5 minutes.
Which is so weird considering like how long these obviously like as wrestling gets greater and greater, they need to go 50 minutes, 2 hours, kicking out of finishers. Carlos he was not on that mindset, and like the actual finish, he got kicked a bit hard and he was out. Like I'm almost a little concerned that he's.
You think it might have been a botch?
Is he okay?
I didn't get that implication. I just kind of thought he was getting buried.
I don't think it was a botch. I think it was just been like because he got put in the Rave Escape. Broke out twice-ish. I don't think he got it fully locked in the second time, but that's like an easy thing. Like, is he okay? That's what I'm trying to wonder. I don't think he got it fully locked in the second time, but that's like an easy thing. I don't want to devote any more time to Carlos if he's not willing to, get that banger acumen out there. So, someone who did not disappoint, just the sheer presence of this man, Yuki Makoto. He going right up to management, no fear. Doesn't even need his lackeys. He's got them out there.
Well, first of all, it's Minato Arsato. First of all,
I mean, like there's just so many names of Door and Yuki Makoto. No, actually, no. He is Yuki Makoto again because he's back in the Fed. He's not Arsato now, is he?
I actually don't know. Let me look this up.
I'm looking at the lore. It says Yuki Makoto, so like
if you're looking at the lore, then I'll believe you. But I'm so used to him being in AEW though. Do you remember, like last week? It was not last week, but rather it was a surprise to see him come back over the past 3 months to TFR. So That's why I'm so used to
this is-
calling
yeah.
Arisato, because
This isn't even a
You
bit.
know,
I was
he's-
generally like looking over my notes, like, oh, there's Arasato's match. No, like the Lord I just noticed he's Yuki Makoto again. So I guess like he might be. This might be the confirmation that he is out of AEW. This is not like someone goes to a promotion. Like it's not like Mean Mark Calloway becomes the Undertaker forever. No, he's just back to being, Yuki Makoto. So,
but he's got the same gimmick from AEW, which is
yeah, but
interesting.
Can you trademark being goth? Because like you could trademark a name. You could say you can't use that on TV. I don't think you could trademark eyeshadow and a guitar.
I guess not.
And
It's very WCW WWF esque, with like Hogan goes over to WCW and he's still Hulk Hogan. Not obviously he turns into Hollywood for a bit, but he's just normal Hogan.
He comes out yellow and red. It's the same.
Hulkamania.
He's not out here doing like fist.
So I guess it's not.
He's dropping the leg. Yeah. So,
I guess it's not that.
I think it's weird because
far of a stretch.
We just haven't seen many jumps from BCW. Well, BCW merged, but like once someone goes to AEW, they typically don't go back to the Fed.
So that's why this is so shocking to me.
Exactly.
Is it? Do you have any information? Is this a sign of a possible decaying morale or disgruntlement within AEW staff?
Well, I think everything, and I think the staff are feeling great. They're happy to be there. Morale is just great right now. So I wouldn't know about that, but maybe Arisato just couldn't hang. So he maybe he's just not worthy of being Arisato, the AEW World Champion. He has to kind of like revert back to disgusting Fed stink Yuki Makoto.
Yeah. Well, I wish him the best. I do wish him the best. I do.
And I'm saying the best might be coming because based on this match, he had it figured that the Prince would not succeed, and later we will see he was on the money. We can talk about that later, but right now the question I'm going to phrase is Makoto, Dor, whatever you want to call him, poised to break into this King of Jobber scene now?
Well, the storyline is clearly leading him that way.
And
that's my comment.
So that's the intro. I'm ready to move on. There's one thing I just want to address. This is a little more complicated when you remember that Ricky Bobby is a G1 superstar, and before his departure from AEW, Arisato was involved. G1 was all over him. So
yeah,
I don't know if Ricky Bobby is if he's been informed of because Tanahashi, Shibata, Inoki, these guys don't play. So if they feel betrayed in some way, this is going to make the situation exponentially more complicated. So definitely King of Jobbers. If it wasn't before, this is the title to keep the eye on. But we'll get to later and how Prince did not succeed in rescuing the title. But speaking of people who were also unable to capture gold, Dante and Vorgan tag team title match. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about that. Dante and Vorgan are always a pleasure, especially when the tag teaming. So this is a match I was going into with high hopes.
I mean, I went in thinking they're on top of I wanted to put them both in the top 3 last week because they've just been on the ball so much, especially because they had just shown that their tag team excellence has not dulled. They last week they divided and conquered. They knew how to keep the offense flowing. And to my surprise, this week, another prediction gone haywire. They could not find it in this week.
Yeah, it's there's really I really have absolutely no explanation for it. They start off attacking the ref. They both attack the ref instantly.
Yes, and that immediately, Vorgan, he's going off the script. And I think what this match comes down to is a lack of teamwork. Because, last week we struggled to comprehend what's been going on with Aniki. He seemed to be struggling, and these struggles were not, solved this week. This match was, the Mark Wolf show, but that just goes to show you how, scary Mark Wolf is. Singles, tag team, it doesn't matter. But even with Aniki struggling, though, they could not divide and conquer. They try to, it would be repelled. There were periods of this match where Dante or Vorgan would be trying to like 2v1 Mark Wolf, and they wouldn't be able to get away with it because they're I think at one point, like Dante is like getting push up pressed by Aniki, and Vorgan's just like laughing at him. Like they are not on the same page here.
Well, they are a great. I want to say that Dante and Vorgan are an absolutely amazing. They're a great show, right? Dante and Vorgan, great competitors.
They can do all the moves, all the flips.
Great competitors in the ring, especially when facing each other. They have heat in real life. They both have heat with each other in real life. So putting them together in a team, this implosion was bound to happen.
I mean, you got maybe but last week, you know, I don't think it was a matter of they needed teamwork to win. It's just that this time, and this is a tag title match. Aniki, one of the most accomplished tag team wrestlers of our time. Mark Wolf, absolute monster right now. Normally, they can get away with it because they are that good. Like we've seen them just destroy singles, tag teams. This week, they needed the teamwork to be able to like compete, and they just were not able to do it.
And when you don't have it, when your team is possibly shooting on each other throughout the entire match, there is no winning. There's just absolutely no getting the belts when you have that. I'm struggling to find the correct word here, but when there's that animosity, that pre-existing animosity, the Fed's not going to put. They're not going to put a championship belt on.
I feel like those guys
like that.
felt like they were going to be the ones to win the match. Like, oh, Vorgan's not going to win with the Roberto. I'm going to win with the fuckery. Or Dante's not going to win with the fuckery.
That's my point.
Win with the Roberto. And
they're trying to
one is like hit. Yeah, and meanwhile, Mark Wolf is out here hitting dives back to back, just dominating both of them. And they're not thinking about, I got to save Dante to keep myself in the match. I'm thinking, how am I going to get in there and make myself look good? And this isn't about looking good. This is the title match. If you can't get that, you're not going to win. And I think that's kind of exemplified in terms of the coordination of Mark Wolf be able to use a dive to divide and conquer, and Dante using a dive to fall on his ass and break his ass entirely.
There's even a part. I know this is not at all what you're just talking about right now, but I'm rewatching the footage right now just to refresh my memory, but this is pretty egregious right here. There's even a part where Dante hits the fucker cut, and he goes to the pin. Vorgan on the outside throws Mark Wolf into the pin to break the pin.
That's
either
right.
mistakenly or purposefully.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past him to do it on purpose, but I also wouldn't put it past him to be dumb enough to just completely misread the situation. So, but Vorgan, who ate the pin? Because I feel like that's something they'll probably be arguing about later. Like, oh, this is all your fault. My dick's bigger than yours.
Let me look into it right now.
Yeah, it was Vorgan, Mark Wolf.
Yeah.
I still think Aniki has some problems. He needs to get addressed as soon as possible. Like he might be struggling with something. Hopefully not. Because one of the most beloved members of the entire roster, but just the Mark Wolf show was enough to kind of stop Vorgan in his tracks. He did pull out that funny reversal. I was not expecting him to defy the laws of physics and snap behind Wolf like that, but even so, that's one move in a tag team match where at any given moment you are getting pounded by two oiled up gachi guys. So
you have to remember that he does have Dante and Vorgan. They do have the Wesker genes, right? They've got the Sperto lineage.
That's true.
Such effects, such magic, if you will, which is not real. That's justified. It's in their genes. They just have that ability. They just have that ability.
They do have the ability. They have that ability in each other. If they can develop that as a combination attack, we could very well see them holding tag gold again. Until then, not going to happen. So, the Butterflies on top as tag team champions, probably one of the most consistently solid tag champs in any, sorry to say American males are not, hanging with these guys. So, we'll see where the contendership ends up, but for now, I don't see them losing the titles anytime soon.
Possibly for a good long while, to be honest, based on the current state of the Fed tag team division.
Well, I mean that is a good point. Like last week, we praised Dante and Bergen for dismantling, a team that involved Quote. So
Yes.
not exactly,
And even then, if you think about it, the Fed tag team situation has been absolutely dire for years now. Possibly forever.
Extraction was a happy accident. These are 2 season 1 legends. They have a history. They kind of bounce off each other. The rest of those teams were not exactly setting the world on fire. I mean, some people were very happy to see Armstrong and Date. Some people are happy to see Date even when he's failing miserably. So I don't think that's worth.
You are pronouncing his name wrong.
Dan Ted.
Oh, you're saying Dante. Okay, never mind.
Yes. Yeah. From IA Samimium.
No. Okay. Now you're calling him Dante.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Date. Yeah.
Yes, but the way you're saying it, you're saying like Dante.
Yeah. Come on, Date. Yeah. I'm definitely correct.
Okay, well now you're talking about. Okay, let's move on. We're just running in circles.
So next up, probably the highlight of the night for some people. Tough Enough, as usual. Knocking it out of the park. Now that I still haven't gotten over the loss of Mekazawa. It really sucks that he's gone. I feel like
has anyone gotten over that?
Unfairly comparing Fargoth's performance to Mekazawa. People say, "Oh, Fargoth, sacrificed himself for the good of the team. Mekazawa would have gotten 4 pins. He, don't let that, ordinary look deceive you. He was killing it. If that injury hadn't happened, he could be leading the pack right now. But without that,
just the way the business is.
We've got Tatsuya, we've got Sam Flam, and we've got Boogie Woogie Woo. And every single one of them managed to impress him. All of them got pins in this match, except for Fargoth. Boogie got 2, and I'm gonna get into Boogie later because I think last week the spicy tofu was not indicative of his potential because he's got some 4,000 years Chinese martial art shit. He was killing it this week.
Oh, I never assumed that the curry was
it wasn't indicative of his potential.
No, yeah, because he's still a great wrestler. It's just that he seems to have a problem. He seems to have a problem keeping his head in the game.
And it's weird because you see he seems so focused on boogieing, going out there, just boogieing it up Maglo. He loves to dance and shuck and jive, and then he goes in the ring. He just absolutely dismantles his opponent with strikes. So I don't know if I think he's very effective. I don't know if it's a struggle he's finding in himself, or he might want to transition into a style more befitting, a fun, happy, just happy to be their guy.
And that's what this industry needs more of.
Exactly. We need more. Maybe he should add some flips. He just loves to flip and bounce on the trampoline with his friends, and maybe that's better.
I wouldn't say maybe.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But in terms of someone who also managed to impress, Sam Flam, he just has. I don't know if it's the bias of Jackman's aura, because Jackman made Apollo look interesting this week, which is if that's not a testament to how over Jackman is that he made Apollo interesting, I don't know what will. But Sam Flam, he just has he has the heart, which is such an used thing to say, oh, my favorite, oh, Travis touchdown. He has the heart. No, he does not. He is not him. Some people, they use that as a kind of a crutch to say that their favorite wrestlers are better than your favorite wrestlers. But when I say it, I'm saying that Sam Flam is better than your favorite Tough Enough finalist. So
that's a pretty bold statement considering who's still in.
I mean, last week I said, Sam Flam, he was impressing me. He won the Tofu Challenge. That was his thing, because that I think maybe that could, looking back at it, we said, maybe Boogie doesn't have the heart to stay on top of the ball. He didn't have the heart to finish those Tofu, and Sam Flam absolutely killed it.
You know, you're
You know,
starting to convince me. You're starting to convince me. I have my own personal
yeah.
biases and like my own favorites, but I have to admit, I think that Sam Flam kid, he might go all the way. He's over. He's got the look. He's got a great mentor that is clearly having a really good impact on him.
Sorry, I just got the call from New York. Had to pick it up, or else they would kill my family. But anyway, yeah, I absolutely agree that Sam Flam. I would say that somehow Tatsuya is somehow more honed and aggressive in the ring. He's got that precision. So maybe Sam Flam is not quite at that level yet, but he's making up for it just like with the energy he's bringing.
I do have to say that Tatsuya is pretty impressive. He has this kind of swagger and like in-ring psychology, as if he's been doing this for years now. But obviously he hasn't been.
Swagger of a Japanese teenager that
Yes,
can make motorbikes.
obviously
Exactly.
he hasn't been doing this for years now. This is his first time in a wrestling ring, but it just feels like he has, and I can't really explain it.
I would call him a natural, which, Tough Enough has been. I think all these guys have just been so great, but so they all seem like naturals, even compared to like some of these indie guys who are entirely self-taught. Some guys like even like a Koga, natural athletes. You get them in the ring, and like you give them a push, and they just start running away with it. I think Tatsuya he's probably the best natural rookie we have in the business right now. But maybe he is missing that little X factor that Sam Flam and even Boogie are, lacking. And to that point, I guess the one who was kind of lacking in all aspects was Fargoth, and that's why he's been eliminated this week. Do you think that's a fair assessment?
I think it's a very fair assessment. I also am not sure what Fargoth's goal was. I feel like Fargoth, what happened in the ring, I feel like that was a swerve, right? Because they all,
I mean,
they saw the negative reaction to Fargoth replacing Mekazawa, and this week
yeah.
Go on.
When you get brought in as a replacement, Roger attends his backstage with him, like saying like, hey, we're bringing you in, last minute, just kind of here's what you should probably do to kind of make it in there. So who knows what was motivating him there? Maybe they had something lined up for him in the future. Maybe he's just a really nice guy, but
yeah, I'm curious to know.
Nice guy.
I can't wait for either a source from the Fed or maybe like a shoot interview 10 or 20 years from now where Fargoth gives us the details about all this, what had happened at this Tough Enough. Because
I don't think
Fargoth selflessly
I just think I've seen nothing that indicates that he's like a bad guy, like he's bitter. I think he's the kind of guy who gets screwed over, and then his friends years later say, "Oh, they were screwing him over." And I think Caius could absolutely be that guy. He can go wherever he wants on any kind of
puzzle here.
Yeah.
Obviously, Caius and Mod were former tag partners way back in the day.
Yeah.
So you have to wonder if maybe Caius is like cool with what had happened, or if he feels like maybe Fargoth was a bit screwed over by possible sabotaging booking towards him.
Well, when you put it like that,
or maybe on the other side of the
with
coin,
everything. He's just really cool with everything.
He is pretty cool with everything. So maybe he was I'll take the fall.
Yeah. So.
In either way, it works out. It works out. We got the three actually popular Tough Enough contestants in the final three. Fargoth is gone, and I'm very excited to head into the quarterfinals or whatever.
I think the big point we missed here is that they all won. They won three. No, this was a 4-0 sweep. They definitively beat their mentors. So if you want to talk about are the Tough Enough competitors ready, I think they're ready now. I think you could sign all three of these guys and just throw them in there. But if you want to really make someone who's ready to inherit top of the card status, the next big thing, these three guys, Boogie Woogie Woo, Tatsuya, Sam Flam, when they fight it out, I feel like a star could possibly be born. Maybe not a star on the same level as a Eugene Chad or a Steve Burnside, but a star nonetheless.
It would be like a Fed star, which is still pretty impressive, of course. Not going to knock out a Fed star.
And speaking of new stars, we heard that G1 has 3 young lions turning into slightly older lions.
Yes, there was a graduation. Let's talk about that. Of course, that's not part of the TFR or AEW package, but we believe it's relevant to the conversation, so let's bring that up.
The Forbidden Door has become so blurred, like as you'll see this week. The more we talk about it, the more the lines have become blurred. G1 is kind of like I don't want to say like a secondary, place to follow the events of TFR, because they are, they're getting ready for their like actual G1 tournament. So who knows who's going to show up in that, in TFR, AEW, who knows? But these 3, Battler, Shiki, and Sosuke, Sosuke, they've graduated as young lions, but I don't think they're as ready as their mentors maybe believe they are, going off of their performance in the rest of the night. So,
oh, you mean later
I'm happy
that
to see
night?
Battler. Oh yeah, we'll get into that. And so I'm happy
we'll get
to
into
see
that
Battler.
later, but I do want to say that they did fight like 2 or 3 gauntlet matches later tonight before having an actual real official match. But we'll get to that later. That's later.
Yeah,
this is now.
We'll break that down, but I'm saying like all 3. Well, Sosuke did no such thing. He put on a hell of a performance. We'll also get into that later. But if these 3 guys are willing to like step off that young lion program, and this is the performance they're willing to give, who knows? Like maybe Battler is. We had him number 1 last week. Maybe we'll have to reconsider that.
Ooh, you think it was that bad?
I don't think it was that bad, but like in terms of like the praise we were holding him to, I don't think he lived up to that. But who knows? We'll cross that bridge.
We'll get there. We are good. We are getting too far ahead. Let's continue with the fiery graduation promo package here.
Yeah, I was always happy to see Battler. Happy to see him, Shiki. They get along. Dare I say better than Battler ever got along with Wright or even Sayhara, because they just kind of click like that.
They were really they're kind of too. What's the phrase you would use here? They're peas in a pod, I guess, if that makes sense.
I would say it's more like 2 sides of the same coin, because Battler.
That's a better way to say it.
Silly. He's a silly little guy. He loves to go out there and yell and argue and just bring the whole Battler package. Shiki's kind of a fucking psychopath. Like, there's something wrong with Shiki, and I'm into it. I want to see him, bisect
you mean as a character,
a woman,
right? Like Shiki as a character, and not Shiki the person.
As like a person, as a human being, Shiki is a fucked up individual. He's got.
I've never really gotten that
energy.
I never really gotten that vibe from him, but you know more about this than I do.
If I met Shiki in an alley, I think he would like bite my neck off. Like he would just rip my throat out. Like I wouldn't even have to do anything. He would just kind of do that. And I feel like that's kind of the dichotomy between him and Battler right now, compared to the Mystery Masters, where you see, Wright's kind of like the dad of the group, Sayhara's kind of like the little bro, and Battler's kind of like the glue. Now it's kind of like I don't see them being
Kyle is the
as much of a
brother.
Exactly, and they have to bring in season 4. It's like a soap opera. Like, and here's our friend Kyle. Kyle's like the Poochie of the Mystery Masters.
Well, it kind of feels that way now, but I think it's been deserved. But again, that's a story for another time.
Yeah. And then Sosuke, we'll get into that later. But I've got my eye on them, and I'm gonna. I think they're so great that I have to hold them to a higher standard than anyone else in the business right now. So, happy to see them. Maybe we won't stay happy, but time to move on from a highlight to a low light. Sam Stone and quote.
A low light is a very, very, very polite way to put this. This map is fucking trash.
Last week we had an all AEW bottom 3. I don't think that's going to be the case this week. I think we've got a TFR, Fetty, right up there. Quote. What the? I don't want to say that Sam Stone has been like brought down to his level. Because I like Sam. He's a good kid. What a hoss, what a mastodon. He can go out there. He had a hard hitting match with Caius last week. This was just. Give me a minute here. I need to figure out how to break this down. They had a match. It was not like a beltway. 7 minutes. This is not functioning. They went long. It just went a bit too long for anyone to tolerate. That's how I'm looking at this.
Well, going into this match, if you subscribe to Observer Plus, you would hear the live reaction and watch along on our website now. Go subscribe if you haven't already, of course.
Yeah.
You would hear me say, going right into the match during.
Yeah. I'm sorry. It's just everyone in chat should be. You all paid your $10.99, right?
Unfortunately, there are some people that do not. And I really wish they would.
Disgusted by this.
I really wish they would. We do. We put a lot of hard work into this, and people want to pirate. That's just kind of rough for us.
You wouldn't steal a banger.
No. God, no.
So
anyway, going in, I said in the live watch along, with of the subscribers that Sam Stone is a very underrated wrestler.
I saw
and
that.
Boy,
I remember that now.
Boy, did he apparently seem to take offense to that.
Oh yeah, he really proved you wrong.
Yes, he did.
Sam. I mean, I quotes hitting power bombs, quotes getting him like they're brawling with chairs and stairs. This was a stairs match, by the way. Just in case you didn't know,
yes.
This was a stairs match in. No, even in name, I think at some point people realize they are using those stairs an uncomfortable amount, and even I don't know, how do you not use the stairs right? You just pick them up and then hit them. So like,
and what makes that worse is that there is a good chunk of the match where they would only hit each other with stairs. They would not perform moves. They would not strike.
I stare at you, you stare at me, we stare at each other, and then I go into stare phase 2. That's what happened here.
Yes.
And it was not good. Just the stairs part. There's no potential to use stairs. Like maybe if you got them like on the floor and you like guillotine them with the stairs, that would be cool. But you're already hitting like your maximum amount of stair enjoyment, and then the rest of the match was all at that level. So that's what we're dealing with right now. The stairs match was the rest of the match, if that makes sense.
It makes sense, and it was trash. Just absolute trash. Just a waste of time.
We've been talking about Sam because we're not trying to bury Sam. He's got something he needs. Maybe he belongs in Tough Enough, which is. Sorry if that sounds harsh, but you stack up Sam with, Sam Flam, shabam. But, Quote is kind of like the name of the game here. He does not know what he is self-taught in the worst way. And he's a Saihara tribute act on a card where we had like 3 Saihara tribute acts that all are miles and miles ahead of him. So he does the flips. They don't look good. He doesn't even flip it like embarrassingly bad. Like he doesn't do a moonsault and then break his neck on the way down. He doesn't, dive and like battler himself in the barricade. He just does flips and they're not good.
And there's no impact to these flips either. When you flip, you're supposed to have an impact, right?
Like even some manlets. Like I have to admit, like Rey Mysterio. He will propel himself with such like force and momentum. It makes it look like that's how he's hurting you. Like that's what he has to do to stay in the game. That's speed and momentum, especially like on like a Darby Allin. That's how like a smaller guy stays in the game. You put yourself on the line to like deal the damage. Quote, he's simultaneously like going too fast and moving in slow motion.
I just think the Quote experiment has been a disaster. Quote is obviously, hear me out here. Quote is the Fed's reaction to fucking Tim.
I mean, like that. Did quote come first, or was the Tim experiment kind of? Or are you saying this is like a contest between TFR and AEW to see who can make the worst, replacement wrestler? Because
I can't
right
recall
now it's pretty close.
I can't recall who came first, but I don't even want to think about them any longer.
Exactly. Like I don't think I
Which
can remember
sucks
that
because I'm
why
pretty
would
sure
I
we get Tim
care
later.
To remember. Oh, we'll get to Tim later, and he's not
Oh,
getting off.
God.
But I think Quote managed to out Tim this week. So at one point he botches a low blow, which is already like another like how do you mess it up? It looked like he did the Bloodborne like pig fisting thing, like when you're grinding outside Murgot. I don't know how he did it, but he sure did.
I'm getting a call right now that is saying that Tim and Quote debuted on the same, episode.
Oh
Believe
my
that
God,
or not.
they did, didn't they? That's so they're like two halves of the same evil.
Yes.
Yes. So
They're two sides of a turd, right?
yes, and maybe no, you can't polish a Tim. You can polish a turd, you can't polish a Tim.
Right. Right.
And quote, just absolutely embarrassing. At least he lost.
At least
quote,
he lost.
I would be happy if I never saw him again. But see, if he had beaten Sam, if he had gotten some, big upset win just after kicking out of just like five. And I'll talk about this in a few minutes. Actually, current finishers in terms of like how you put a man away, and quote he can take it, but I don't know if he can dish it out. So maybe it's on Sam for just like not being able to end this travesty. So Sam won, but did he really win?
Did anyone win this match? Did
No.
the fans? Did the Fed?
The fans lost. I don't know how AEW somehow lost because it reminded us of Tim.
Yeah, exactly. I think everyone. This is going to be shown in like Guantanamo Bay in a few years, right? This match.
Oh yeah. God forbid if they put you in the Ichiban chair and turn this on, you will spill like any kind of government secret. You're just done.
Yes.
Yeah, and
we will get to Ichiban later as well.
Super chats. I think we're about done talking about quote forever. So let's hear what the people are saying.
Yeah, let's cleanse our mind with some super chats. I'll start us off here with $2 from 0OG1278. Why hasn't Mod addressed the Reggie Gigas domestic abuse allegations?
Well, I think Game Freak should be in jail for the domestic abuse they have committed against Reggie Gigas. He will always have my support, for what they have done to him. You didn't have to give him slow start in Legends Arceus. There's no abilities in that fucking game. So, fists up, dicks out for Reggie Gigas.
OP with a 47-cent super chat. Wow, okay, thanks,
Wow.
asshole. He says, any info on why Arisato left AEW in the midst of that great potential King match? They had the setup ready for Forbidden Door.
Well, who's to say it's still not on? Because G1, I think it was Shibata this week who said G1 does not care about who wins between TFR and AEW. They are going to go. We are going to
talk about that promo package right after the super chats are done. So hold off on that.
So great transition. But if King and Arisato is going to draw money, then and maybe TFR is willing to have that match as like a semi-main event. Who's to say it's not going to happen? That's what I'm talking about in terms of like if Arisato. I'm sorry, Yuki Makoto. I want to call him Arisato, but he's just not anymore.
Well, it's Arisato in the super chat, so I don't blame you.
Can we just call him Door again? It's just so much easier.
I'd be fine with that.
Yeah. So if it's Door next in line for Ricky Bobby, I don't think Door is the guy to beat Ricky Bobby. I don't think it's an impossibility considering the support he has at ringside. He's got Columbus Spice, he's got Red, and those two at his back. Who knows what could happen? But if that's where it goes, maybe we could get something along the lines of G1 trying to take back the KOJ because I don't think it's become anything less than a source of pride in the promotion to dominate TFR. So effortlessly and so dominantly to the point where Op is literally shaking and crying.
We're going to move on to Master of Awesomeness 1992 with a 1992 USD, $19.92, that is. What do you think the final challenge of Tough Enough will be? I was thinking if it was 2 instead of 3, then it would be a 9 levels of hell challenge.
9 levels of booking Tough Enough is a complicated question because, you know, TFR has their analytics, they have their statistics. I'm sure they have certain ways to measure who they want to win in what metric. If it's like a popularity contest, Sam Flam could win next week. If it's, an Iron Man, technician, who's going to be the one to take it home, Tatsuya can take it. If it's like a potpourri challenge, a ability to like cut a promo, have a match, and create a gimmick all in a row, maybe Boogie Woogie Woo. So
it's really anyone's game.
I don't think TFR is going to try to rig it specifically for someone, but if they know what they want from their Tough Enough winner, if they want someone who's going to be able to have a banger, or they want someone who's going to be able to go out on the mic and say, I'm the guy now, maybe they'll tailor the challenge to that. So, who knows?
And we may very well know the winner the moment we see the final challenge. But that's for next Friday.
Or maybe Tatsuya will surprise us and, he'll get on that mic and cut a killer promo. Maybe Boogie will shock the world and, fail to perform in the ring. So anything could happen.
Anything could happen. That's very exciting. The Fed is kind of exciting this week.
I can't believe you would say that, but it's true.
Yeah. All right, we have what is this number? We have 10 billion Argentinian pesos from Nepal Lover 92. Thank you for the 5 cents. Recalled, sir.
That's below the request limit. I don't know how that got in there, but
Recalled, sir. What do you think of Boogie's fan base in the Chinese community?
Boogie, like I said, I think he has some kind of 4,000 years Chinese martial arts history going on. The Chinese are very secular in their ability to support one another. They more so than maybe any other nation on Earth. So when they see Boogie succeeding, for the glory of Xi Jinping, they find solidarity in that. So if this is a popularity contest, I would be on alert for, if the voting happens a bit too, if those lines go up a little too straight, second by second, maybe keep your eye on that. But it gives him international appeal, and he's got that. Sometimes maybe we need a cultural babyface or a cultural heel. Who knows? But I don't think there's anything bad in a vacuum. But with the Chinese, there's always a connotation there.
Intern Kuhn with $6.90 says or asks thoughts on the current TFR administration. It's been a short while since Mod took over TFR. How is the morale backstage?
People are skeptical of Mod's ability to run the show, and I agree that we should keep an eye on him, but we need to remember that Mod this is a former wrestler. This is someone who's been around the business. This is someone who spends like 12 hours a day, on the forums, staying up to date on the biz. He does not get up to shower. He does not get up to, go eat dinner with his family. Sounds kind of nice, but this is a guy. You may not agree with him. You may not think he's qualified, but he's got the industry knowledge to maybe he is holding this thing together, and we just need to, put some faith in him. But until then, we'll keep an eye on his ability to run the show.
He's got the veteran knowledge. He's got the booking prowess, and most importantly, he has at least 3 terabytes of Kairi Sane on his computer.
Absolutely, he is the guy going on PW and posting IO oink threads because Kairi was insulted. So we can confirm that was him.
All right. Sora Ross Sapp.
Maybe he killed Hana. Who knows?
Sora Ross Sapp donates $47. Apollo finally escapes the curtain jerker slot. Do we see him finally getting a chance at some mid-card titles?
I don't think Apollo needs titles more than he needs like a gimmick or something, a feud to kind of like light the fire under his ass. Maybe a title is the way to that, but I think the current like Pegasus, Apollo's not fighting Pegasus. He's never beating Pegasus, but he's not even getting in the ring with Pegasus. That's not happening. Ricky Bobby needs to be assassinated by a top main eventer fighting for the glory of TFR. That is also not Apollo. I mean, ex-BCW guy, that's not happening. Apollo, Adol for the Badge of the Bone, maybe, but like I said, Adol just got that title back after, kind of proving that he still got it, so I wouldn't think Apollo's in position to take that off of him, so maybe Apollo just needs to, find some beef with someone who needs some justice. So we'll see how that link up with Jackman takes him in that direction, but until then, he can't get worse, so that's good, but we got to keep an eye on him too.
We got Ring a Ball with 10 Joe coins. My sources just told me that the newest rep in the Indie Tribe 9 staple is named Yo Kuronaka. Google his name. What did Kodaka mean by this? Hey, Jamie, can we pull up Yo Kuronaka, please?
Oh, that's actually true. Oh my god, it's actually true.
Hold on. I'm going to look it up right now.
Oh my god, what the fuck? Is this like the evolution of Cyhart? What am I looking at here? Why is he Bondrude? What the fuck?
Oh god.
No, he wasn't. No, this was not. I thought he was kidding. No, this is serious. This is real. A serious bastard. Wow. Okay. He's holding what appears to be. I mean, is that because I want to buy the other one that's coming out, the 100 one,
100-meter line or whatever.
100. Yeah, that game. I don't buy a lot of games. I might actually buy that one, but maybe this is the reason why I will absolutely never buy the 9 mile. So. Yeah. I don't know why. I don't know why Kodaka McMahon fell off so hard, but he certainly did. Was he ever on? Was he ever really? Could the
Danganronpa
who wrote
was huge, dude? It was huge. You can't say it wasn't.
Okay, but but anything can get over. I'm saying, is the guy who wrote the Celeste murder trial ever really on? Because that shit still makes me mad.
Oh, okay, but Danganronpa 2 was
2012 game. Sorry.
Yeah, Danganronpa 2 was pretty peak though. Everyone I know says I'm wrong. They're just fucking retarded. But Danganronpa 2 is peak. We can go on for days though. We can go on for days about that though.
The third case is bad. The rest is pretty good. The peaks are peak. I haven't played V3, so whatever.
Hold on, Jamie, pull up the image one more time, please. I want to point something out.
Okay, fascinating.
But yeah, I don't know what Kodaka meant by this guy. Maybe he becomes a star. Who knows? But I do want to point out, 1, I love these beyond ass sprites. 2, they're literally doing the fucking Danganronpa spread legs in sprite form.
Oh my god, they are. Why? Why is his name? Does he have? No. Why is his hair like? Blackwell's hair is just kind of black and white. It's not split down the middle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy is the light is overtaking the darkness, or the darkness is corrupting the light. I don't know. It's some kind of symbolism. We'll see when the Tribe 9 pay-per-view starts.
Yeah,
that's not going to be for a while though.
It is the Black Quill hair color thing, so maybe this is El Hermano de Black Quill. Very interesting.
It could be, but we'll never know until the pay-per-view, and that's not happening for a while.
Yeah, and I would like to see Yo as far from me as humanly possible. So, and what else we got on Super Chats?
We have a fathead with less than 1 cent asking, when are you going to review the WVGCW that's still ongoing? It has all you wanted. 25 minutes and the hecking bangerinos. 25 plus minutes. Matches. Oh, okay. Jesus Christ, I'm dyslexic. It has all you wanted. 25 plus minute matches and the hecking bangerinos.
Well, I mean, AEW already gives me, 50-minute matches, and they're all bangers, so why would I watch Jugo Enoshima versus... I don't even know who's on VGCW anymore. And, AEW just pulled out Illidan, so why would I watch VGCW when we've got Illidan, we got NPC Maru. What do they got?
They don't have much. They don't have much anymore. What a fall from grace. Intern Kun with 20,000 Japanese yen. Thoughts on how the G1 brackets are shaping up?
I've got to look at the blocks like a little more thoroughly so I could chart out maybe we'll do like March Madness fantasy brackets, but considering like how powerful and consistent the G1 roster, like this is a roster with Adam Blade, this is a roster with
Unfortunately, he has not started the stream yet, so they missed that entire interaction.
damn.
So we're going to murder OP for missing that entire interaction. Yeah. I'll bring the shovel. You pop him in the back. And oh, we're live. All right, let's get back to the super chat, everyone.
All right. Am I on the air?
Everyone.
All right. Am I on the air?
We're gonna see now.
Am I on the air? Yeah.
You sound fine right now, but we'll see if that stays. We're gonna do one more super chat, and then we're gonna progress. We're gonna keep going.
Yep.
This last super chat comes from Summer of '92 with the 100,000 Joe coins. who says, "I'm not sure if
Wow.
I'm the only one, but does it look like Fi wants BJC?"
No, Fi wants BPC, Big Birdcock, and I can confirm this from sources that are me. So
You've got reputable sources.
Yep. It's been mandated. It's written in the stars. A million miles away. How do you think she got that 5-star match? How do you think she tipped the scale? Cry about it.
All right, we
Next
can move
up,
on
we
to
had
super chats now.
we'll do more later, but yeah, this show, very good show. It could have been a bit longer. Could have had more matches or more promos, as we had Kyle reminiscing about his ability to love wrestling in that wrestling ring.
Yes, I think it's pretty interesting that we're getting flashback promos, like they're playing the instant replay of a past event on the Titantron during a promo. That's kind of unique in my eyes.
That's like 2020 pandemic core, so like nothing's outside of anything's possible.
Yeah. But why don't you tell us about the Shibata interaction? Because that was something I'm not sure Fed fans were expecting.
Shibata, this is a guy who's gone. He's had wars with Orange Cassidy. He's had his brain taken out and put back in. So when he says, that Fed do be bad.
He really means it. He's serious.
And I mean, I would love to see Shibata get into the ring with, a couple guys. He's a strong style practitioner. If he headbutts them, they'll die. So maybe he can do that to Quote or someone. But I think that Kyle, people are coming around on him, but maybe there's someone out there who's not convinced. Is like, no, thank you, right? We hate Kyle. So
yeah,
it's interesting to see that that option or that opinion just still be out there, despite everything that's happened.
And going back to the unique promo structure, there was also a moment where they live stream Armstrong's Twitter feed, and Kyle comments on it. Kyle comments on it while he's in the ring giving the promo. What do you make of that?
Do you guys not have phones?
I mean, I do.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. It's fun.
I think that's all we could say about that. There's not much going on. We don't know the full extent of the possible TFR G1 collaboration, if there even is going to be one.
But I'm #hungry. You're #hungry. And I'm sure TFR and G1 are #hungry for the big guy. Let's see where that goes.
Yes, I think it's about time we bring him back.
Maybe he's someone who could beat Ricky Bobby, because the Prince was absolutely not the guy for this. Last week, the Prince beat a debilitated Aniki. Let's be real. Aniki was not on the ball. He hasn't even recovered this week. There's something wrong with him. And, the Prince seemed very confident in that victory when he really shouldn't have, because Ricky Bobby just absolutely ate him up this week. This was not what TFR was looking for.
No. And I can't think of, after seeing Prince fall to Ricky Bobby, I do not know who could possibly put Ricky Bobby down at this point. Maybe a Pegasus.
Well, what I want to talk about is... Because what I want to talk about was match. Some people might think Ricky Bobby had, Red and Colombo Spice in his corner, and that's what gave them the advantage. Not so. Sorry, I had to...
Bless you.
I had to watch Prince match, but anyway... This man hit a wall run and 2 rewind splashes in a row, and all of them were 2 counts. He had to go for the 3rd rewind splash just to stay in the game, and he was surprised when it missed. And if you're hitting someone with your best shot twice in a row, 3 times in a row, and you still can't put it away, you're not winning this match. You are not him. Go sit down and know your role, basically. The Prince, this was his chance to kind of ascend to tribal chiefdom status, so to speak, and he did not. He couldn't do it. He was physically incapable of winning this match, and I think that's what the story is, that Ricky Bobby is just on a level higher than your average wrestler. He's not going to. There's no fluke win. There's no good matchup. If you're either first or you're last, and this week Prince was last.
Sorry, I'm just trying to. I've really just been trying to piece together in my mind where this storyline is going to go with Ricky Bobby and.
He's going to win or he's going to lose. Something's got to give.
Well, obviously, but I'm thinking
the
more
important
like
thing is that this was the 11th defense, and most of you might not think that's important, but one thing to keep in mind: Pegasus is still on his genre-defining, record-breaking world title run with 12 defenses. And that's over 300 days of active wrestling, and Ricky Bobby has achieved 11 defenses in half that time. So I think 12 is the kicker here. If Ricky Bobby can, match Pegasus' defenses, he could very reasonably use that as an excuse to step up to Pegasus. And I don't know if OP could survive a Ricky Bobby victory over Pegasus. So
you say that, but we know what kind of person Pegasus is. He would find it offensive if a mid-card belt holder challenged him to a match.
Well, no, Pegasus, he doesn't dislike mid-carders. I think I'm sure he loves the season 1, the Dantes and the.
Well, even then, Ricky Bobby is far from season 1.
Oh, was he season 1 of G1? Does that count?
I mean, if you really want to go into semantics, but I don't think.
I mean, he might not be, but I'm just saying, is that is there a conversion rate in terms of new star status? But I don't think Ricky Bobby could beat Pegasus. Titles on the line. Pegasus, he has that world champ difference. He is Hemasis, Pegahim, whatever. But either way, 12 is. TFR has to find the guy who's going to dethrone Ricky Bobby. It's now or never. Chris Redfield is MIA. They don't have Punk. They don't have, they're not going to be able to get Reen on speed dial. Hisoka is a world champion. I said Pegasus, but we didn't even talk about that. Ricky Bobby could very well, go belt for belt with the current world championships. Maybe even see unification of those titles.
That would be pretty dire. That would be pretty dire for the Fed, though.
This is all speculation, but I feel like now's 12 is the defense where it's going to matter. This is where things are going to get serious. So they got to find the guy to beat Ricky, or he may never lose again.
I mean, I don't think that's Prince, all too unlikely.
He will never lose to the Prince. I can guarantee you. After this week, the Prince is never going to win against Ricky Bobby. I would put money on that. He could not get it done.
I think that's a very, very fair statement, if not obvious.
I don't care where the Prince ends up as long as he stays away from, even the King of Jobbers scene. Very disappointing performance. Very impressive from Ricky Bobby. Someone else who managed to impress this week, Agent 47. He took it to Zach in this next match. Let's talk about it.
I missed the unmute button a bunch because I'm an idiot. But yes, let's talk about Agent 47 and Zach. And right off the bat, I want to say the match had a great build-up and a great story all throughout. Obviously, Zach is...
He's been on the rocks.
Yes, he's on the rocks. He's a bit skeptical.
Now.
He's been kind of going over, at least in storyline, maybe in real life. He's been going over all the mountain of evidence left behind by Manny Pardo.
Yeah,
he's just been completely absorbed into his mind.
Yeah. And, someone who knows a lot about absorbing other men is 47.
Right.
This match was... I don't think this was a boxing match. These two beat the crap out of each other. All fists, no flips. And, Yeah, Zach could not. He tried. He was out here. I saw Dempsey roll at one point. Going for those headlock takeovers. Clinches. The usuals. But 47 just he. We've seen him as like backstabbers, assassination DDTs, tombstones. He's got that like that precision style. Maybe this is like a shift to something a more aggressive 47. Maybe this is how he gets back on the map.
Well, I don't think he's ever been off the map.
In terms of like success, like he'll always be there. He'll always get a pop. He can always cut a promo. If he wants to get back on that world title scene, kind of redeem himself, he's just got to start hitting motherfuckers.
Yeah, I think he's learning some valuable lessons from Genji. That is his name, right? I didn't just fuck it up.
Yeah, Kamigawa Genji. Yeah.
Yes. That's why you usually want to say the last name, but that was not on my mind right now. My train of thought has collapsed. What were we talking about?
Heeming. 47 heamed the shit out of Zack.
Yes,
so.
I think he is learning a lot of good from. I think he's learning a lot of good from this, this boxing training arc. He's got a new look, a very refreshing new look, might I add, because he has been looking the exact same since season 1. And I know that's his iconic suit, but now, when you have a fresh fit, you have a fresh look in the eyes of the fans. And with this new Fight Night apparel...
Okay, very important question to expand on that. Do you think a fresh cut is in the works? 47 with hair. In our time, could we see it?
No. That's out of the question. You can get rid of his signature suit, you can't get rid of his signature bald. At that point, is he even 47 if he is not bald?
I mean, true. Like Agent 49, he had the tactical gear, but still bald. So that's true.
Yes, that's the one thing all these agents have in common.
1, 2, 3, 46, 47, 49 patches. All bald.
Agent 6 Gurlian,
of course. This was a good just brawl. We'll see some worse brawls later on. I wouldn't call it a match of the night, but I was definitely entertained by just. It was like kind of like not Fry Takayama tier, just absolute brutality, but it was very fun to watch these two just punch each other.
It was fun to watch, and it was most importantly, it was a great like little fun match to, lead into bangers.
Yeah, and plenty of bangers.
And we have plenty of bangers.
Well, not immediately after this, because immediately after this was Alucard and Terry Hinn. So.
Oh God, I forgot.
I wish I could forget, but no. Alucard.
Alucard is usually a great wrestler. He's usually a very great in-ring personality.
Great is a strong word. Alucard is he can work. He knows how to keep a match flowing, but you put him into Extreme Rules, and we'll see later on. Like Extreme Rules is not just. Some people use it as a crutch, and sometimes it just makes him worse. So it's very hard to succeed in Extreme Rules the same way that Caius and Sam Stone did last week. But this was. I hate to say finisher spam, because in AEW we love seeing finishers. We love seeing guys kick out of finishers in that wrestling ring. Most of this match was just like silencers and then more silencers, and that was kind of like the extent of what he was bringing to the table.
It was the worst kind of finisher spam, where they were just using the exact same move over and over again.
Yeah, this wasn't like Brock Goldberg. This was like Brock Roman before the heel turn.
This match is so bad that the Kiryu Beach Ball came back out again.
It sure, you know what? And that Beach Ball, Kiryu Mania is running wild, brother. And his voice is just getting better and better.
It's always a pleasure to hear him. Unfortunately, it's at the deficit of the wrestlers in the ring this time around. But otherwise, what else was there to talk about in that match other than the Kiryu Beach Ball?
I mean, Terry Hintz, lovable veteran, knows someone else we thought knew how to work a match. But, I'm seeing they did, catch a top rope into a TKO. They did that twice in a row, and same exact spot, and just it felt like we could expect more from these guys, and they let us down.
Yeah, they let us down.
They didn't use Extreme Rules. Dare I say, I was happier watching the Stairs match because at least it felt like thematically appropriate. This didn't feel like Extreme Rules. This felt like AEW just doesn't have rules and they can just do whatever they want.
I mean, for the most part, that's true. AEW can do whatever
yes.
they want. It's their business. But maybe there needs to be a little bit.
I mean, like if they want to do like pure rules, no exiting the ring, no closed fists, they can do that. If they want to do an Extreme Rules match, pile drivers off the stage through 2 tables, they can do that, but don't do one and then try to like kind of make it work with the other, because then you just get a mishmash that's mostly just boring for everyone involved, and then Alucard just wins. So, which means this isn't over. So we're going to see a continuation of the Stable Slayer, whatever you want to call him, but yeah, no, we're going to get more Alucard. That's.
Well,
that's
I mean, I thought you meant like more of an Alucard and Terry. I thought you were insinuating there was an Alucard and Terry feud in the works. It's not as bad when you just say we're going to see more Alucard.
I don't think Terry can rebound from this. This was not a good match on Blood and Guts, which is like the biggest,
when you're opening your pay-per-view,
yeah,
with this match, or was it a pay-per-view, or what is it, a Dynamite special? I always forget.
Every Dynamite is pretty much like its own pay-per-view in terms of the quality of bangers you come to expect. But when you put a name on it, it feels better. And you want to know how this match failed to stack up, because it was immediately followed and somehow surpassed by seemingly an AEW dark match broke out in the middle of this pay-per-view.
Seemingly out of nowhere.
Seemingly out of nowhere, we had Yo versus Huston.
This is a banger.
I don't even want to say
this is absolutely a banger.
I don't think these guys are indie stars. I think these guys are like the factory trainees, and they just sent them out there to do something.
Yeah. Them and Hologram.
Bold move. Putting. And dare I say, I think these two are still somehow better Saihara tribute acts than Quote.
Well, that goes without saying.
Yeah, because like Yo is heartwarming Latinx, massive bulge Saihara, and no. Yo is the Hispanic one with Eric Cartman on his head.
Yes.
Huston is the lipstick, David Bowie jaw structure, massive. He really is like David Bowie. Massive bulge just out there on display, Saihara, and I don't think Quote has either of those things going for him.
No. It also helps that Yo and Huston are completely fresh, like you said, factory new wrestlers, and the fact that Juza put them on their big show, it's a statement about AEW having faith in their talent for one, and it's frankly
it was a big show of faith. And to be fair, like this was not they were green, like that much is certain, but like they did the backbreaker jump off the apron spot, something I haven't seen before. It's not maybe that's something you learn on the indies, but it was something more than Alucard Terry, and those are two industry veterans just stinking it up. So Yo won. Maybe we'll see more of him next week. Maybe we'll never see him again. But it filled time on the card. That's all I got to say about that.
And it wasn't even that bad of a match. I'm going to say it.
It wasn't bad. Wasn't good. It wasn't bad.
All right, from this we lead out of AEW and into a promo package with Kiryu and K1. Perd, tell me what happens here.
I gotta be honest. When K1 shows up, I pay more attention, for reasons. But Bro was babbling a lot this week. Bro said a lot of words, and I didn't catch most of them. I heard Fed bad, BCW bad, but also somehow like AEW good, which is interesting because BCW like diehards have been the ones keeping AEW afloat. So to go out there and kind of like disparage the memory of BCW just to say it's the same as TFR, I didn't take offense to that, but I didn't agree with that, and I can see how many people would be very offended by that.
Well, we don't have to talk about the words. We can talk about the banger they put on.
I don't. K1 can talk all he wants, but in the ring, we had a lot of tornado tags this week. This one didn't really like wow me in the same way that like I've seen some really like great ones in the past, but I think it was probably the best tag match of the week.
Well, when your competition is Dante and Vorgan versus Aniki and Mark Wolf, that's not
that
really
wasn't a bad match. They just lost.
Well, in that case, when your competition is Battler and Shiki and the rest of them having 300 matches in a row,
that was not as good. But
yeah,
but it's still like I think it was a statement that these two, more versatile. Even Kiryu going up against opponents, Kieran and Hiroshi. Is that his name?
You're embarrassing me.
I'm sorry. I've only played like the first 3 hours of Yakuza 0, so I don't. Yeah, it was Hiroshi. I was right. I didn't even have to reveal that. Evil itself. Yeah, 5-star General Hiroshi. I think that's a 5-star match. The NXT rules, but
I would hope you would know your own 5
stars.
stars.
Well, I could get my notes, but they've appeared to. I cannot move from my chair. I've been utterly buried in paperwork, unfortunately.
Yeah. No, that happens to me too sometimes.
Yeah. But it wasn't. It felt more like a brawl. Like they weren't in there doing like double super kicks, tag team spots. They were really out there brawling. They really put it all on the line. Kieran and Hiroshi hit that double dive. That was not. Like, this wasn't the best match of the night. That would have been the high point of the night. That looked absolutely brutal.
That was
it felt like
an amazing spot.
Kiryu,
That was an amazing spot.
Like I don't think if I watch a Kiryu match and he eats a finisher, I think he's getting it. I saw that double dive and I felt concerned for Kiryu. Rare to see that, and that wasn't the end, but it felt like our heroes were in danger here. So they did a good job of presenting the evil of the Matoa family against these two. So good match. I'm curious to see how these two will possibly, if the Matoa's family is looking to gain capital, maybe they'll find a way to make deals with AEW or be hired in to deal with TFR superstars. Who knows? But until then, I'm always happy to see K1. Kiryu, excellent as always.
We glossed over this
else?
part in the promo, but we do see a bit of the mental downfall of Keiichi when he tries to pull out a gamepad when the Mato family show up.
Well, that was a visual plea to will he be able to cooperate with Kiryu in this state of mind? The answer was yes, right. But I feel like the seed of doubt has been sown.
The seed of doubt is planted.
Like Keiichi, he does feel like our hero in the sense that like season 7 finale was kind of like he knew what was going on and no one else did, so we kind of put our faith in him. So to see him kind of like struggling like this, it's concerning.
Well, there's even a bit of what's the word? A bit of foreshadowing in the promo with Keiichi and what he was talking about at the end of season 7, excuse me. With
yes.
The whatever knowledge that he's burdened with.
He did allude to that, so maybe this is it. Maybe this is like
we're getting to the end game.
It's finally happening, guys.
Yeah, and I'm very excited to see how that turns out.
Yeah, but with all the families running around the city, I might want to sue.
You might want to sue.
I might want to sue.
Why is that?
And someone else who might want to sue is a certain. I feel like I was trying to find a natural transition in, but we need to discuss. Actually, you and I cannot handle what happened next on AEW. So
no, we're gonna need some help, and we got some help.
We need some help. Dante, Hunk, we had to bring him in. Ladies and gentlemen, Sora Ross Sapp.
Hello, everyone.
It's great to have you on the
so,
show, Sora Ross Sapp.
So great to have you.
Good to see you guys, Mike Meltzer and Luis Alvarez.
Great to see you.
Yep.
Great to see you.
Yeah, this match
It
definitely
was certainly a match.
How the mighty have fallen.
Right off the bat, we had Soul Bad Guy and Beltway and Vector in the same building, so I was already like getting flashbacks. So this was not going to go well to begin with. But Dante really outshined him all. Hunk. I don't want to talk about Hunk's involvement in this match. It makes me sad. He really tried to carry this thing on his back. He didn't win. He really put it all out there, and it wasn't enough because Dante just. It's time we discuss the elephant in the room. Dante maliciously and disgustingly assaulted a female fan in the crowd.
Yeah, it's words
No,
can't describe
this was
the
not-
disgust I have.
This was not wholesome. This was not poggers. This was not wholesome chungus. I'm disgusted. I'm revolted. I last week I said he had never been with a girl before. I did not mean that as a challenge, but I know how does AEW address this going forward? Because
How does AEW just going forward, especially since AEW has been building up as this, we are absolutely not the Fed. And this was a very, very Fed core thing that happened on live TV.
And you know what?
There's
Rumble Twitter.
big rumors right now.
What?
There's an
When
NDA has
Coda-
been signed. I've
yeah.
heard.
Yeah, we brought you on to discuss the details of the
Ooh.
NDA. That's definitely the most important part of this. But what I want to talk about is just the fan perception. Rumble Twitter. When Koga's sexual harassment, promo came out, they were riled up. They were disgusted. They were calling for his removal. This week, blatant sexual assault against a fan, and they were shockingly quiet. Do you think this double standard has, enabled, maybe some bad faith actors within AEW?
Absolutely. As we've seen just now, Dante did something that should be quite frankly disgusted. Everyone should be calling for his removal from the roster, but instead we get, obviously it's a bit early to mention it, but that post-match promo was shocking.
Just completely
the
brushed off
crowd-
what had happened.
It was...
He didn't.
I've
He
never been
didn't
more
address it.
disgusted.
The crowd didn't forget. They let him know that they saw him. But I'm Soul Bad Guy. I'm out there, going through this forbidden door. I got a G1 appearance, coming up, and I'm affiliated with this. I wouldn't be surprised if he just walked out because you're forever you're in frame while this is happening, and that stays with you.
Yeah.
That is something that
I've-
people are not going to forget.
Absolutely
Fans,
not.
some of the fans just not happy in the crowd, that is, but online we've seen nothing. Very few acts of condemnation.
The female fans are vocal and they are not happy.
I've seen the petitions. I've signed it myself. It has to be done. But will Amakusa listen?
I have heard that agents have been dispatched to shit in Dante's pizza. It's gotten serious.
We've heard that, really. Is that
Yes.
you got that backed up by
Yeah.
sources?
Yeah, sorry. Totally.
My sources
Oh.
are agreeing as well. If you want the full details, subscribe to AO Fightful Select.
Well, hold on a second. This is our show.
Hold on. You know what? I think we've talked about this segment enough. I think we can. I'm not bad match. Vector and Beltway were involved. Will affect their position in the rankings, but we need to talk about get him out of here.
Get the fucking.
Yeah, fucking.
I can't believe he
Piece of
tried to
shit.
advertise in our show.
Yeah.
What an asshole.
I didn't want to talk about RPL, but we move forward, and and I don't think Dante will be able to move forward.
No.
With what he's done here this week.
I'm sure Juza, if he's really going to take this side, I'm sure Juza's going to make sure to try to wipe this from, all sorts of history, from all the YouTube videos, all the Twitter videos. He's going to try to wipe that out. If he's really going to take Dante's side on this.
When you said take a side, I thought you meant he would. I said bold of you to assume he would address this instead of just But yeah,
No,
he's
I
gonna
mean wipe
this,
it. I mean wipe it from the internet entirely.
Yeah,
He's going to put DMCA's out.
DMCA's, copyright strikes, possible Boeing assassination. Agent 47, could he be a free agent right now after this incident?
It's hard to say. I don't believe his contract ran out yet, right? So I don't think
That is true.
his contract has not run out. However, he has not shown up in TFR programming, and I don't think we have heard any news on any contract negotiations. So it's up in the air.
I'll just say that we here at WR, we stand with, wrestlers above all else. If they happen to be female, yeah, sure, but we just love wrestling so much, and this is not wrestling. This is not wrestling.
Let's move on from this before I get a really bad taste.
You know what was
on
wrestling? Party Crashers, Third Vengeance, scaffold match for the Sony for the Players Championship. We got Steve Burnside, we got Pepino, we got Chad. Virgil. People were very very harsh on his promo last week. He didn't do this, so maybe
we're just glossing over his promo entirely. We don't care.
Yeah.
I told Dante last week, if you go back to last week's edition of Wrestling Observer Rumble, I told him to get his act together.
Hold on. Sora, I know we just banished Sora Rossap, but saying Kyrie Ray was not happy. Is this same Kyrie Ray romantically involved with Nero that Dante did this too?
Oh shit!
Is that the scoop? Is that confirmed?
Well, she is a talent in the company in the women's division of AEW, as we know.
I didn't even think about it. She is sitting front row. I didn't even realize Dante might have been groping Nero's girlfriend, fiance. Oh my!
Oh my god!
Oh my!
That would explain why he's in such a sour mood in this night, but that's for later.
Nero, I was gonna get to it later. He wrestled, very differently than I normally see him. This adds a lot of clarity to the situation. We have to get into that later.
We'll have to get our sources on the line.
Yeah, but one little bright spot in between this travesty. This was the pillars. We had 3 pillars in one match. How could it go wrong?
How could it go wrong? And also, it's a scaffold match. You all know, if you've seen my top 10 best AEW gimmick matches on Wrestling Observer Plus, you all know that the scaffold match is very high on my top 10 ranking as one of my favorite gimmick matches in AEW. So this was an absolutely amazing recipe for bangers. Not banging.
Yeah, banger.
We'll bang, okay?
Banger was delivered here. A couple highlights, scaffold match, you always have a few highlights. Someone's going to be, horrifically jammed in between steel and wire. But, Eugene still managed to impress by prematurely lowering the briefcase to the point where he was holding on from the floor. So that was very, very impressive work to botch. The pillars continue to impress.
But we can't talk about this match as much as it was a recipe for success. The finish was not it. The finish is not it.
I mean, pillars won, so the fans went home happy that their heroes, the pillars, had won. But
they went out happy that night. Do you not think that they were thinking about that, like on the ride home or the next morning? Oh yeah, Steve just kind of climbed a ladder and grabbed the briefcase with zero resistance.
I mean,
that's how it ended.
I mean, sometimes when they get on that ladder and they're trying to unhook the briefcase, it takes a long time, and that gets really annoying because he's like, just unclip it. So I guess the people who were saying that, why doesn't he just unclip it? Well, you got their answer. They can in the right circumstances. It's just, are you satisfied now, or has presented a new problem? So
I can't get over how Eugene looks like Mr. Yo from
I was
earlier.
gonna say, is Eugene Eugene? Is this Eugene?
I have some reputable sources saying that AEW is scouting him right now. By the way, this is breaking news.
I mean, like, four Cyhara tribute acts might be. Some might say it's too many. I think we're only halfway there.
It's not enough.
8 at least.
He's the perfect AEW superstar.
Oh my god. This is... We have fun here.
So yeah, a great match, bad finish.
Yeah, Virgil did not make good on his promise. Let's see what happens now with the Sparta family situation. Not much else to talk about. Let's get into some super chats.
Yeah, let's take another super chat break, everyone, and we have not as many super chats as last time. So if you have any super chats, send them in now, because otherwise it's going to be a very quick segment.
Yeah, and pay us more money, by the way. Increase
Yes,
those
absolutely.
values.
Absolutely. OP sends $2.05. Thoughts on 47 using straight right punch 2 as his finisher? Homage to Battler, perhaps?
Actually, it's straight right punch 1 that gets the full Battler-esque energy going on for that visual plea to the ending of Yumineko. So check your sources next time. But, I think that, Shining Wizard, Blue Truth Bomb, one of the best combinations in the business. Maybe straight right punch is just that little extra thing it's missing. Just not the main thing, just a secondary option. You never know.
Yeah. It's like when Cena came back with his Chinese punches finisher that everyone loves.
Shandian Shuacho?
Yes.
Yeah, the Shandian Shuacho. 4,000 years Chinese martial arts. Exactly. And
what a powerful finisher. I hope he does that finisher during his retirement tour.
That if he does that against Gunther, I'm gonna fucking die.
It would be beautiful.
Yeah. Imagine that.
Has he done that since he did it that first time? Do we know?
And that was like an Australian, it was Kevin Owens and Elias versus Bobby Lashley, and I think it was Australia, but Oceania adjacent. Yeah. But it was Kevin Owens, Elias, Bobby Lashley, Cena. He wasn't exactly putting it all out there, but it was definitely interesting to see that 6 move of doom. Just as interesting as it was to see 47 break it out. 47 he's had an interesting history with finishers. For a while it was Tombstone, Assassination DDT. Then he found the Backstabber. That was his true calling, and then Assassination DDT kind of got dropped to transitional move status, and the Tombstone kind of disappeared. So he's someone who maybe he's always looking to spice it up a bit. Maybe hitting Backstabbers in different ways. Running Backstabber. Trio row Backstabber, apron Backstabber, diving springboard Backstabber. Who knows?
We have another super chat from Intern Kun again, $5, who asks, who says that we need this Yo in the Latinx title scene, and that is the Yo from the Yo versus Huston match, and not the Yo from Tribe 9 Federation or pay-per-view.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
Because Yo, he's a heartwarming Latinx, immigrant. He loves his tacos and burritos and siestas, and
he loves Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo, exactly. And that's just the kind of heartwarming Latinx representation that we need. So, absolutely.
OP sends a $25 super chat. I've heard the female crowd has been quiet, especially because AEW's viewership is dominated by the key single male 18 to 49 demo. Is that true?
I think there's definitely a reason behind appealing to that demo, because it is nothing else really matters except for 18 to 49 demo, male specifically, of course.
Yes.
So I think AEW has attempted to appeal to that because they're so successful, and with ratings and profits and everything that maybe the reason why, not besides the bangers obviously, but maybe the little secret sauce behind the bangers is appealing to that demographic. So maybe the women just need to know their fucking place.
To expand on that, we have a coinciding super chat from Fathead, who donates his entire Roth IRA fund. He says, since the female crowd in AEW has been dwindling down let me speak English here. Since the female crowd in AEW has been dwindling down because of the 18 to 49 male key demo, what is the reason? The concerns of hygiene and the bad smells during AEW shows? What is the reason here? What's going on?
Well, like I said, these women need to learn their fucking place, understand some real wrestling. But besides that, and maybe they just don't really appreciate bangers the same way. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, it might be a scene that women will never understand.
Yeah, how could women understand the central 3v3? How could women possibly relate to a single member of a central 3v3? They have no relation there whatsoever.
To finish it off, we have Intelligentsia00 donating 3,589 PHP. Is that Filipino USD?
I think it's like a bomb. Like
Oh, he sent a bomb.
PHP. Oh my god.
Intelligentsia sends 3,589 bombs onto our houses. He asks me, what would your co-star say about his life-threatening experience in Silent Hill this weekend? Did he meet TCR superstar James in Atlanta?
I mean, like I said, I got off the bus. I saw two has-been hotel cosplayers in like full outfit. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I feel like that's enough to illustrate what happened there.
Yeah, I don't think you
DragonCon,
want to talk about it much.
A lot of Kiryu fans, a lot of Charizard fans, people who really get it, but truly horrifying experience. Couldn't have said it better.
All right, we can do one more super chat from Freedom Fries, who sends $19.92. Thoughts on Kevin R. Nash speaking out against TSR superstar Darkside Phil in a recent documentary?
What does the R stand?
Well, I don't know.
So you don't know?
Oh, should it? Afraid so.
Afraid so. Darkside Phil, he's gonna win again. He cannot be stopped. I think Nash is messing with matters that he is not fully aware of. So he should watch his back walking down that dark alley.
Well, before we continue on to our next segments, I do have my own physical super chat right here in U.S. dollars to give to Purdy, to Meltzer rather.
What?
You hear the sound of the money being, stretched. And all
there goes the money.
Here's my own personal question for you. What is the deal with K1 and I can't pronounce your names and I'm getting bullied for it? But what is the deal with K1 and Ami, K Angel?
Ame. Yeah.
Date.
Date. They might be.
It's almost like I live in fucking America and I don't need to pronounce Japanese names. Anyways, what is the deal there? They've been following each other around this whole time ever since the beginning of season 8, and they're like some kind of stable that is not really. I mean, they've done a promo with Kiryu, and they did one promo at the very start of the storyline. But do we know what their deal is? I mean, we know that they're working together for the Jaegers, but do we know what their deal is? And are you afraid of K1 being stolen from you?
I mean, I was gonna get to that. I say Amma needs to watch her fucking back if I'm around, but Super Hebe and all of Denpa Moe culture are condensed into what is actually a game with quite a small word count, unsurprisingly creating an overwhelming experience that constantly makes you feel on the edge, but without ever letting you understand why. How does a game with so little substance invoke such emotions? It's incredible that resilience on aesthetic and cultural knowledge NSO carries with it. It's an unstory, interesting main character, bland, and premise uninspired, and it doesn't give a single fuck because it knows that ultimately none of it is the point. NSO is not trying to tell a story. It is not trying to pinpoint a moment in time. As a period piece, I am constantly struck with the feeling that I am not watching reality, but I am watching what humans 1,000 years in the future would have thought our reality was. The elephant in the room is that, of course, that NSO carries every aspect of Denpa culture and squeezes it dry, but at the time it feels empty. Its lack of substance hits the hardest. Denpa culture is almost all it carries due to the fact that it has no special story to latch onto, as if it's drinking a pure syrup, at times too sweet with no body to shape it out. The ending, Galactic Express, is easy as the example of this obvious reference to Super Hebe, which is itself is a reference to over 50 of the Denpa works, which were themselves references to the Night of the Galactic Railroad. The forms or themes of which Galactic Railroad gives in Super Hebe that gave away the story. The train itself was adjacent to the derealization that Yuki experiences as she went further into her mind, into the multiple worlds of Aya's mind. And NSO is simply a reference, and the derealization doesn't fit the story of well and how it's handled. But that's all I got to say about that.
Dimes. Absolute fucking dimes. I kneel. Anyway, here's your money. Thank you for the super chat. Here you go.
All right, so next,
Now let's
next
move
up,
on
I
with
think
the
we have
show.
match of the night. Yeah, Sosuke Akiyama. I think this was match of the night. Just putting it out there. I really couldn't think of a better contender for. Like, I don't think there's like a close second. It's just this, and then the rest of the card.
I don't know if I completely agree with it being the best match, but it was a really good match.
I mean, like, I think it was kind of like a weaker week in general in terms of like bangers, but this was a certified banger, and I think that just automatically just puts it number one in my opinion. Because Akiyama, this is a guy with 3 Feds worth of experience. He's got G1, TCR, TFR, and he shows every time that he is not to be messed with. People think oh, he's a little idle manager, or it's just a cute little side thing. No, he is a pure striker. He has powerful kicks. And Sosuke, he thinks he's a cool guy. He caught the wrong end of that tonight, last week, Friday. Yeah.
I want to comment on the sudden enter and introduction of Akiyama in the TFR Fed, at least. I don't think anyone was expecting it. There was a huge pop, massive pop, and he was also he's not really a protagonist, but he was also he influenced the boss fight count. And I don't think he did.
And I think this match did a great job of conveying this is someone who, isn't just important to the story right now, but this is someone who's like, I don't want to say a pillar, because that's copyrighted by AEW, but this is someone who holds, serious sway in the culture of Rumbles as we know it. So someone to keep your eye on and take seriously anytime he shows up, because he and Sosuke, they went word for word, bar for bar. This was more of like 47 and Zach. That was a boxing match. This was like a no holds bar slugfest. They were both flying off the top rope, midair,
but in
kicks,
a good way,
going on the outside. Yeah, this is on the ring, by the way. This is on the street. Concrete floors, steel panes. This is hard bumps, and you look at the other young lions. Do you think maybe Shiki, but like, do you think Battler could like hang in a situation like this? With his we love his content. In terms of like,
I don't think he can hang.
Yeah.
I don't think he can hang because we've seen him not hang, especially during the run-in, the Shinsuke run-in months ago.
Yes,
we know
exactly.
he can't hang
strong
on matches like this.
Maybe Battler, struggles, to deal with strong style, and this match was probably nothing but strong style.
Yeah. What are the lore implications, though, of this match of Akiyama entering and also influencing the boss fight counter?
I mean, she'd already wanted like $100 million. Okay, like.
Yeah. Okay, we need to talk about that then. Let's talk about that. We alluded to this at the beginning of the show.
What's gonna happen?
We alluded to this at the beginning of the show, but there are rumors of a potential buyer for G1. We can finally talk about it now because it's this segment. Let's go into full detail.
Could you buy G1 with $100 million? Because this is like Tokyo Dome rights, merch, every single contract, copyright on G1, pay-per-view names, everything, belts, especially belts. I think $100 million could be a low ball for G1, to be honest.
You have to keep in mind this is yen.
This is yen. Even more, like $100 million could be a low ball. $100 million yen, that's like what, $4? So I think. I think she's in over her depth here. I think it's very cute that she's doing this for Sosuke. I like to see wrestlers having successful relationships, because it's not always guaranteed. You're on the road. The rats are in the ring. A lot of guys, if they're unfaithful, they mess around, and it costs them later in life. So to see like a relationship like that, very solid. I'm happy for Sosuke that he's got someone like that. So I wish them the best, but I don't. You want to talk about rumors that G1 is being bought? She's going to need a bigger purse.
Well, if Akiyama's claims, if they hold true, if she really becomes the #1 idol in Japan, do you really think it's that far-fetched? If she were to do that, that is.
Idols do make a lot. Okay, is G1 are they owned by Bushi? Because New Japan is G1 owned by Bushi? Maki and Miko are members of SSS, so there is some overlap here.
Yes.
I was trying to rule it out, but maybe that's the possibility. Maybe that is the right way to go. Maybe Akiyama knows what he's talking about in terms of financials, and someone who's been around the business, multiple different companies. He knows how things are done. Understands the financial aspects in a way a lot of even someone like Mod might not be able to. So I was trying to rule it out, but just like this match, it surprised me.
What I took from this match more than the match itself, but the match itself was great, of course. But what was lingering in my mind is that we now have, if these rumors are true, afraid so, there could be a possible bidding war for G1.
And that's because AEW, their pockets are open. If they want to get a whole toy set on their hands, they're going to get involved. Keep an eye out, because this is a developing story. We could get the news could drop any minute. It could drop never, but it's on our radar. So we will collaborate with Sora Rossap to get the latest scoops on that. But as for this match, very solid. Sosuke probably had the best performance of the Young Lions of the night, and you look at Tough Enough, you look at the Pillars, and you look at the Young Lions. Who do you think is the most solid right now? Because I'm saying that Tough Enough has, even though they've lost Mekazawa, they've lost Koga, they've lost all these guys. I think they're still more solid than even the Pillars.
Well, that's a bold statement, but I do have to agree.
Because the Pillars, they all have bangers. They can all do flips. They're wrestling really good matches, but I don't think any Fapino, heartwarming, Italian, Mario-esque, but Sam Flam has that going for him. Tatsuya, he's a rookie, much like the Pillars, but he wrestles, beyond his years.
What the
I don't think any of the Pillars have it.
Go on.
Boogie Woogie, that record, when your only loss is to Jingu in a submission match, and people are calling you, possible new hunk, Chinese hunk, if you will, chink. I can't say chink. Who knows? If the Pillar can stack up in that scenario.
But what I think the Tough Enough guys have over the Pillars of AEW is that the Tough Enough guys are just kind of fresh, and that's fresher than the young stars of AEW right now, in my opinion. Which seems like heresy, but you have to admit that it's true. Tatsuya and Sam Flam, and Tatsuya, Sam Flam. This is awkward.
Boogie Woogie Woo?
Yes, that's right. I can't believe I forgot about Boogie Woogie Woo. The Chinese will be at my doorstep tonight to make me apologize on national television. Boogie Woogie Woo, Tatsuya, and Sam Flam
knocking on your door.
They have such a new, unique, and refreshing perspective. You would think that it came from AEW, but no, it's homegrown TFR talent from Kyle. That's got to irk Nero.
Well, to be fair, these are people maybe who are raised, someone on the indies. Chai is quintessential indie wrestler. So I think, maybe AEW is responsible for making the indies as great as they are. And, the Fed is just kind of stealing the best ones. The allure of Mania finales.
The allure of Rocket Mania.
The allure of Rocket Mania, exactly.
Yeah. We got sidetracked, though, because this is not the end of Akiyama. And I was saying earlier, this could lead into a bidding war with Okanogi Entertainment, because right after the Sosuke run-in, we have another run-in.
And we did. We had Can I come on? So I thought coming in okay, these two just beat the crap out of each other. This guy's gonna come pick the bones. Not so. Akiyama had an easier time demolishing Kanai than he did Sosuke, so...
Who does that say more and or less about, though? Does it say more about Sosuke or less about Kaman?
I think Sosuke, he's been in that Young Lion program. Like you said, well, I guess if you want to start drawing parallels, Battler and Shiki, had a gauntlet of matches that affected him later on. Akiyama had a match before a match, and it didn't affect him. So, does that mean that Sosuke is like the Michaels of the Lions? Does that logic make sense? Or
I think that's going too far. Going too far. Because you have to. This is a stable with Battler and Shiki. Okay, I don't think Sosuke has a chance. So he's great, but I don't think he has a chance to be in the Michaels position. No.
Yeah. Well, I said Michaels
just by default.
Yeah. Like, who do you think is gonna win? Like, if we had a young lion triple threat right now, who wins?
Oh, Battler.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure. He's got. Like, I know what you're trying to do. I know what you are insinuating, what you are implying. But we're talking about a guy who has all the tutelage, all the tutoring, and most importantly, all of the heart. And I think you cannot deny, you can't say Shiki has more heart than Battler, right? You can't. You can't say Sosuke has more heart than Battler, especially since, his heart is currently being tsundere or whatever. Battler has, he has something to prove. He has a sister to take care of. He has everything to prove. And I don't think Shiki or Sosuke, I don't think they can match at that. But again, we're getting sidetracked. Akiyama and Kanai, great match, great story. There's uncertainty in, the future of G1, but we also have seemingly turned that into a storyline, and that's pretty exciting. This is exactly the reason why I love wrestling. This real life event is a story in this. I almost said the story in the story, which is obvious, but you know what I'm trying to say. Time will only tell what actually ends up happening to G1 if Okanogi Entertainment rather acquires the Federation, or if, say, I forgot her name already because I don't want to mispronounce it, so I just kind of blanked it from my memory. If Chidori, that's right. Who knows if Okanogi acquires it, or if Chidori manages to become the #1 idol in Japan.
Sorry, my house got struck by fucking lightning, but we're so bad.
Jesus Christ. You jump scared me.
No. Just Florida things, just massive lightning strike, it's okay.
Yeah, the Thunder King struck your house? That's crazy, bro. We'll talk about him
sure
later.
Did. Yep.
But as I was saying, it's uncertain. It's kind of exciting. Who will end up acquiring it? Will G1 relent wait, I'm actually a big, massive idiot who is going to lose us a lot of subscribers. Okanogi Entertainment is not trying to acquire G1. They're trying to acquire Sky Finance.
Yes.
I am a massive fool. Please shame me in the chat.
Okay. But if Sky Finance does manage to loan $100 million and that's enough to buy it, and then they acquire Sky Finance, do they by association own G1?
Possibly, probably. So my argument still stands. It does sting a bit that I just spent the last 5 minutes rambling about a bidding war, only for me to remember that it was not about G1.
They could.
It could loop back around to being about G1.
It's possible if the way I just laid out, but that's okay.
They had to take Shibata's brain out of his head. Okay.
Yeah, they had to take G1 out of Okanogi Finance and put it back in.
Yeah.
Blood and Guts.
Blood and Guts was quite the event. Would you not agree, Mr. Meltzer?
Illidan fucking Storm Rage. Let's
what an entrance.
This is beyond Forbidden Door. This is like a legend returns. Kai Kisuke, Thunder King, very cool Forbidden Door. Seeing Illidan coming down, grown men, who were in tears, people were throwing babies in the air. It was special.
Oh, you think it's special?
It was special, and I'll stand by that.
I can see
Rest
it
of the
in your
match,
eyes.
I could see it in his eyes, and they sure were green.
This match was great. Tim was in it, so it automatically deducts points from it.
That's the thing, because Nero did not wrestle. Nero, he I wouldn't call him a ring general. We'll be able to reflect on his style maybe a little later. We'll get into that, but Nero, it just seemed like there was something off with him. He was just off doing his own spots. I think he went through like 2 tables. Travis Buckhead, doing dives off the cage. People get into massive like Tower of Doom superplex spots in the corner. It was blood and guts, and if you're into that, good for you. But I wasn't exactly blown away with the actual match, but the presentation was on point.
The presentation is on point, and I'm not saying I would, but one might say that that's all that matters.
I mean,
but we've been
very
talking
interesting to
about Team
have,
Nero.
Yeah. Well, this is Team Rakesh versus Team Kaido, and very interesting to not have
Or
them
Team Kaido, rather.
on the show. But this was kind of like them playing video games with the characters, trying hard to beat the stage.
Yeah, all while collecting coins.
And Kaido, he is growing up to be a big boy.
Yes.
Hopefully.
A pretty good team on both ends for Team Nero or not Team Nero. I keep saying Team Nero because Kaido's out in the match. Team Kaido and Team Rakesh. Rakesh build a super team of Travis Touchdown, Philip Butters, JJ Rakaza. I don't remember his last name, and most importantly, like you mentioned, Illidan. What a team!
I mean, is that what like being a gamer gets you? You can just like call Illidan and he'll pull up.
Yes.
Because if so, then maybe.
I mean, what is he
maybe,
doing now? What is he doing now?
Could Rakesh get a Silk Song? Is that the question?
He'd have to try really hard, and even then, I doubt it. I don't think anyone can get a Silk Song.
Because he is a hollow, sir. It's on the shirt. Maybe he is. If we could see a Rakesh world title run, maybe Silk Song will be confirmed.
Do you have any comments on the actual match itself?
I
mean, I know you commented on it being like I know you've already said a lot, but we haven't really talked about spots or the finish or anything like that.
I mean, like it had table spots. It had it had diving spots. Kai assumed the Randy Pitchford position, and it was very awkward and embarrassing for everyone involved. But I think the big takeaway was the teleporting ref incident.
Yeah.
And we're not going to talk about that because we are legally binded to not talk about the teleporting ref incident. But
there was a moment where Philip Butters does a frog splash off the top of the cage, right? And then after that, it seemed like everyone was jealous of that spot because Nero does it, Travis does it. I think maybe someone else does it too. It was a bit,
and I
hate to say this word. Yes, I hate to say this word, but it was kind of Spot Monkey-esque, and it was not in a good way this time.
And the thing is, like, it's not like because if you do like have 5 Spot Monkeys doing like a X Division match and it flows like an insane like circus, that has an appeal. Blood and Guts is not nearly as coordinated as to allow that to happen, and so it didn't. And it just made it, like I said, I don't know if Nero was upset by because the revelation that Kyrie Ray was assaulted by Dante at ringside. Who knows what's going through his head? We'll have to get a source on that, but it didn't seem like Nero was willing to like carry the match like he usually does.
Yeah,
and also Tim was involved.
Tim was involved.
Tim,
it was a fine match, but there was a bunch of little things that brought it down.
Or was it Dole's dots when he had the stop sign upside down?
Yes,
Very
it's like
impressive.
Doles. But it was a fine match that died of 1,000 cuts. is what I'd say.
And there ain't no point to the match.
And then next we have the main event, the stoppable force versus the immovable object, Beltway and the Saihara, the masked Saihara.
I will say this. Last week, you wanted me to consider putting Saihara top 3.
You are not
I
going to
thought about
say
it.
that you were right.
Let me just say this. He's not going in the top 3. Masked Saihara is so good, he somehow managed to not come out the other side looking terrible. That's the
Okay,
best I
I
can say
thought you
about
were going
this
to go the
match.
other way. I thought you were going to say that Beltway dragged him down, and I was going to
He
fight you
did.
for that.
He dragged him down from like the masked Saihara standard, which is because it's Beltway, so it's inevitable. But a masked Saihara at his Beltway is still better than most of the guys wrestling today. So he managed to stick the landing. Beltway, he's not even like green. He's like, it's like he knows exactly what to do to fuck up. It's astounding.
Well, I don't know how Beltway could come out of this match looking good at all. Masked Saihara
Oh no.
absolutely mogs Beltway, which is like one of Beltway's big things, pun intended,
Oh yeah.
is that Beltway is gigantic, and Saihara is way taller than Beltway.
I mean, like, we've all been so happy to see Saihara back in the ring, but I think it's time we start asking the questions: was bone lengthening surgery involved here? Because I remember when Saihara was our little Blorbo, meow meow, Heckenchunger, 5'7". He just like me for real, and now he's standing head to head with Beltway. What happened here?
Well, what happened is that while Saihara was missing, he obviously gained a clue. Now, we don't know where he was. We don't know if he was in like any physical danger. We don't know what happened. But he gained a clue from whatever happened to him. And it shows. He could have, maybe he needed to survive. Maybe he got like in a plane crash. There's no real information about what happened to him, and he doesn't want to share.
Maybe the mask is like,
That's what the mask is. That might be what the point of the mask is.
That's the point of the mask is. And, because like, Saihara, he's still like hitting these Osaka Despair straight cutters. He's still hitting these, high risk maneuvers, but, now he has the power to, land a power slam. And, maybe the mask gives him the ability to do that.
If the mask gives him the ability and the clue, does that mean if you were to pull that mask off, would he die? Because he would just shrink.
I think it would be extremely painful. Extremely painful.
Well, he's a big guy.
For you. Was wrestling Beltway part of his plan?
Of course.
Well, what's the next step of Saihara's master plan as AEW's world champion?
Well, he's gonna crash the Fed with no survivors by putting on bangers after banger after banger after banger, week after week, month after month.
Right, he is in charge here. I'm not saying this was good, but he made a statement. He didn't lose to Beltway. God help us if he lost to Beltway, but he walked out the other side of a Beltway match, not at his absolute lowest. So, props to him for that. There's not much else we can talk about. Beltway managed to throw him from one side of the ring to the other. I don't know how he managed to do that.
But you're missing the big thing. Oh, go on.
One point he hit like one splash, and then he turned his head and positioned his arms like a superhero. I was very whelmed by that.
But we need to talk about the implications of Saihara having the science belt now, right? He has it. He has every belt in AEW.
Yeah, every single belt.
Every single one. He can now make a wish to the almighty Fauci, who will scientifically create anything he asks for using science.
And you know what? I think I was going to say, maybe he was going to wish for more bangers, but then you realize the bangers were inside of him all along.
I mean, even if he went back on that, he still has a wish. It's not like he goes away.
Yeah, just to see this is like a Tomb Raider situation. Like this belt is too powerful. He just kind of like throws it down and breaks it, and then no one gets anything.
We'll see next week on AEW, or this week rather.
Do that, yeah.
But okay, that we can close the book on TFR and AEW and move on to our actual main events.
Yeah. Blood and Guts as a whole, it got headlines for better and for worse. I think it was still an improvement over last week. Last week we were seriously doubting the ability of AEW to succeed. This week wasn't like a complete reversal, but I feel like we've been stabilized now. You know, maybe we look at Tim and Dante and say, do these guys need to be on our roster? But besides that, I think they're back on track.
Now let's move on now to a promo another Ichiban promo package, which is always a delight.
Yes. My first thought, as always, why was Waka wearing clothes?
Of course.
It's at this point, what are we doing here? I'm happy to see Arc back. You know, I thought maybe the one time with Harry was like
I was worried it was going to be a one-off. Yes,
but seeing Arc and Ichiban, I could see a mixed tag situation. I could see, maybe like Arc is kind of like that killing edge he needs to kind of get back on track.
I see implications for the Mae Young Classic this year. Or not the Mae Young Classic. I mean the mixed tag classic. The Mae Young Classic is Waka's territory, but I digress.
I think we had like one mixed tag, and it was like such a massive fucking disaster in 2K20 that he never did one again.
Kino.
Yeah, like I remember it was like a count out every single time, and then it was like he had to like control or take over to like stop the pin breaks. Very powerful. That's how we got introduced to Red, and it's only been downhill from there. So.
All right. Well, Ichiban and the crew are hiding out at the Revolve Bar. They get found because, of course, they get found. Escharum has eyes everywhere. There's a big action scene. He is the end. Well, he's not the Endless, but he may as well be as physically imposing and pressuring as the Endless.
Okay, that makes sense.
But the Revolve Bar gets surrounded. They're coming to take Ichiban and everyone again. They escape through a hidden door in the bar, and the bartender is going to hold them all off while they escape. We get a little ending piece, an auditory plea, if you will, at the very end of this promo, right when the run-in is about to start, when the handicap match is about to begin. We don't see the handicap match. It's not televised. We can only assume the worst. But we do get one last piece, one last line before the feed cuts. Do you remember that line?
No. Sorry.
Are you looking that up, or do you want me to say it?
No, yeah, you got this one. I trust you.
He says, and I quote, "Right the world wrong, the world's wrongs," and he's quoting himself.
Oh, yeah, I knew that one. Yeah. No,
yes.
Yeah, you'd have to go. I knew that.
Can't believe I said something as cheesy as that. Sometimes I sound like you, don't I, brother? And then the feed cuts. That is a bombshell.
You know what? I'm going to say what Noah's saying. Mr. America is back.
It's fucking about time. It's about time. I missed him so much. We never found out his identity, and it seems like we're now getting a Mr. America origin story or reveal.
I mean, the glasses, he's got the blonde hair. We can't see exactly what's going on with the glasses. I feel like it's almost like a new Mr. America, like a new world order of, America.
I'm very excited to see the return of Mr. America, just as you are. I'm glad that I was able to jog your memory about the end of the promo.
Yeah. But, I realize now that I was struggling to remember because we had my man, Hitoshi-san, Kawaii Desu Sugoi, in this bitch, and I popped so hard. I was intoxicated at the time, but Hitoshi drew my dimes. I was so happy to see him here.
As were most everyone here. But let's throw that aside.
Yeah, he got his ass kicked, but he was happy to be here, and I was happy he was here.
Let's throw that aside and let's go to our true main event, which was an absolute gauntlet of so many different matches. Take us away with the beginning assault or counter assault on the Ryogi house.
Well, like, first of all, you got Battler, you got Shiki, and you got what's his name, the other guy. But
Sosuke.
You know, already like too young. No, it wasn't Sosuke. It was like.
Oh, you're right. You're right. My apologies. It was Arihiko. I forgot that Sosuke already had his limelight.
Yeah. So, kind of cringe of him not to show up and support his fellow young lions. I'm waiting for him to reunite with his young lion brothers, but not going to be next week. But first match, they were on top of it. They were fresh. They were ready to go. Battler and Shiki just absolutely cleaned house. And then the question became, okay, that was the easy one. Here's the hard one. And they completely dominated that one too. So
it seemed like they were on a good roll. The young lions.
And I realize now that
I almost said Arahako.
They didn't know what was coming. They thought it was going to be free eats, easy street, and they could go all out, didn't have to conserve their tires, stay breathing, and in those 1v1s, that might have been the reason it cost them. They got cocky, they got overconfident, and they didn't have enough in the tank to seal the deal.
Yeah, but before the singles matches actually happen, I want to talk about a weird part of the pre-match promo with Shiki, the female Shiki, who just randomly shoots on Yakuza 3. It kind of killed the mood. It was very funny. Kind of killed the mood. I think that was the point, though. It was kind of like to lighten the tension. But it was obvious. Where did that come from? Was that in the script?
Because everyone knows that Yakuza 3 is the best one, because obviously it wasn't meant to be taken seriously.
Right. But was that part of the script? Is my question. Was she just shooting? Was it a work shoot or was it a shot work?
I think it was a shot work in the sense that they knew that even daring to suggest that Yakuza 3 isn't the best in the series. My favorite, when Video Game Donkey covered Yakuza 3, that's when I knew it was the best in the series. And based off of that, simply implying that it was not goated would be. It's like saying that. It's like saying that Case 3 and Danganronpa 1 is good. It's just so obviously not true that it could only be a joke.
Right. But if it were a shoot, what do you have to say to the female Shiki?
Why are you wearing clothes? But anyway,
fair enough.
Next match, we had a Battler dive immediately. These guys, they were killing it, and I think it might have been a visual plea to the fact that they may no longer be young lions in title, but they are still young lions in spirit, and so learning to slow it down and really wrestle a stronger, more consistent style is how they'll be able to succeed. And this might have been a bit of a humbling for them, but either way, we got into,
especially in such a high stakes match.
It was high stakes because Shiki versus Koma was, like I said, Shiki, he's a walking pit bull. He does not take L's every week, and he was outmatched here. He couldn't get it together. And I feel like maybe once Battler saw that his good friend Shiki, someone so reliable and so consistently solid at murder, couldn't get the job done, it might have affected him negatively. So
psychologically, yeah, I see what you mean.
Could have been a domino from there, because I'm trying to find reasons why Battler and Shiki were not able to close the deal on deadly opponents, to be sure, but not top guys. So
I do want to clarify that subscribers are correct. I was incorrect. I was misunderstood. Not misunderstood, but I put it in a confusing way. The female Shiki was not shooting on Yakuza 3. She was shooting on the Yakuza 3 antis, or the anti-Yakuza 3s, if you will.
That's what I was trying to say. Like, when you said it sounded because like no one would ever say that Yakuza 3 wasn't like the pinnacle.
Yeah.
So why would you even like come out the gate with it? That makes a lot more sense.
That's my mistake.
Glad we got that clarified. But yeah, Koma won relatively quickly against Shiki, which I think that also like when a match doesn't go 20 minutes, something's up.
Right. It was I agree with you completely. It was a very humbling experience for the Young Lions. And
also lost. His match was a lot closer. And, like I said, Akiyama, don't want to mess with him. But, in that regard, Battler versus Tetsuo, I wasn't sure that he would lose. And like, as the match went, I kept waiting for Battler to kind of kick it up a notch, and he just did.
Yeah, you were waiting for Vintage Battler into Shining Wizard into Blue Truth Bomb, but that never came.
Exactly. Drop kicks in the corner, dive, Sawdust on the barricade. Good old Battler stuff, and it just never really came.
I think they needed to lose, right? Like, if you think as a booker they need to lose, if they win every match, there's no stakes for any future match, right?
Yeah,
there's no
but
stakes,
the fact that,
especially. Go on.
Well, just maybe that the point is that the fact that they struggle with Koma, who was then so easily dispatched by the massive enter, setting up how fucked they are, because
yes,
the very foundation of wrestling has shifted with the arrival of this latest, dare I say, evil incarnate.
Oh.
The fact that they couldn't handle the guys who he effortlessly disposed of. They gotta figure out how they're gonna deal with this now. So I understand from that perspective how this was a humbling experience, but I think it will kind of affect Battler's momentum that he's been on recently.
It's gonna affect his momentum, but are you sure it will? It really will, because like you said yourself, they're seemingly kind of fucked against this massive enter. What chance do they stand? And I think that's intentional on the writer's part. If we're going to get into the very meta of the industry here, it's supposed to look hopeless. You're supposed to that way your babyface, your babyface in a hopeless place, in a hopeless set of mind, overcomes the odds, has that Cinderella ending. Everyone leaves the arena happy after the pay-per-view ends. I don't agree that this is hindering his momentum.
Yeah, but you got to make it legitimate, because look, Jujutsu Kaisen just ended, and it was the Goober Brigade versus Sukuna, and fans very vocal, not happy. So if you build up such a great evil too far, that's the point where you say we need to get these guys locked in on going on levels they've never been before. Is that if we believe really hard and we work together, we'll win? No, that's not going to work. It's not going to go down that way. You gotta switch. You gotta switch up the method and figure something out. Otherwise, if you win, that if what you say, if the baby faces going over like that would work, people would have liked the season 2 finale.
That's fair. That's a fair statement to make. But let's move on to the main event promo. Not the main event. The post main event promo package.
Yeah.
The go home.
The end of our existence. As we know it.
Yes.
The police. Police showed up. I didn't care. Alco showed up. I cared.
Well, I was about to say they showed. How could you not care when,
Well, I didn't care about the cops. I just care about Alco.
Fair enough. But we get a backstage segment. We get a backstage segment with Koma, walking about in an alley. Gets blocked by absolute massive enter, who hits him with the steel chair. He's down, and he's possibly been written out of the storyline.
I think he's dead.
I do have sources. I do have sources at the local medical facility who have said that it is not looking good, but it's not entirely, hopeless as of right now. Plans could change.
Yeah, plans
But
change.
we need to talk. But let's
cannot confirm if
let's
his
go
brain's
back to
been
a lighter
taken out
note. Yes, we cannot confirm that yet. But let's say on a lighter note, let's talk about the man who hits him with the steel chair, who reveals he takes off the metaphorical hood. His identity is revealed. Underneath the shadowy facade is
Jacob Tono.
Jacob Tono. Holy shit!
How do you even begin to approach this? Because, us with our transcendent knowledge, remember the menace that Jacob Narashima was in season 6. This is a man who needed Prime, Koga, and Bevy, to team up to even stand a chance.
And even then, it was a close fight.
Even that, we talked about the excellence of Heat in season 6. Jacob is someone who we saw taking who could take someone like Heat to the limit. This is a threat you could not beat with Reed.
No.
It's not guaranteed. That's the level we're at right now, which is,
in fact, seeing this screenshot is
horrifying.
making me shake right now on the stream.
I'm literally shaking, possibly crying.
I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep after that promo, after the event ended.
I think our time is up, his time is now. We can see him, but his time is now.
And the fact that we can see him makes it all the worse, because we know he's on the move. Evil is on the move now.
Evil, no one could even hope to imagine the horrible events that are coming to occur.
Do you have any more comments on this? Do you have any inside information about where Jacob has been this whole time, or
nothing?
Was it really this much of a well-kept secret?
No one knew anything.
Well, I applaud Team Rumble for that. That is insanity that they managed to keep that under wraps for so long.
It never even crossed my mind that it was a possibility. So
Me too.
I don't think we can. Anything right now would just be sheer speculation, and we would never want to, just go for baseless conjecture over hard facts. We would never do that here at WOR.
Right.
So, I think you look at Jacob, and I think it speaks for himself. I think that's episode 14 in a nutshell.
Yeah, we can close the book on episode 14. What an episode! Really ramped up at the end. What are your final thoughts on the entire product last week?
I mean, clearly we're in a better place than before. Because last week, we had some concerns. We had some doubts about, is AEW as great as it could be? But, this was blood and guts. Who knows if this will be, as consistent as, if this is sustainable week to week. But until that time, I think once we break down our top and bottom 3, things will become more apparent how they've shifted since last week.
Yeah. Matter of fact, let's do that right now. Let's bring up the top and bottom 3 this week. Okay. Because I have a feeling the very foundation of the top and bottom 3s have been shaken to the core.
Yeah. So last week, I'll got off the top of my head. We got Hisoka, New World Champion #1. Battler #1. Hisoka, New World Champion #2. Dante #3, off of Tough Enough, and just his 5-star bangers. This week, I feel like we got to get an AEW on the board for the top 3.
Yes.
Who is sliding into that slot?
Before we even talk about AEW, let me ask an important question. Are we exclusively covering AEW and TFR wrestlers?
No. I think we can define the top and bottom 3 in terms of the context of each episode,
right,
and what's happening.
Then that brings up
what happened last week, etc. But I don't think King is going to be unless he has a match on AEW, I don't think I could reasonably put King like number 1 or anything.
Right.
So
Well,
that's how I
that
define
brings up an important question. That brings up an important conversation topic then, because Jacob is here now. He's
Jacob
here.
is
Even if he
Jacob
has
is
not
here.
wrestled, he is here. He is on the screen on the television show. So he has to be put into consideration now.
I think the problem is that Jacob is so powerful that in order for someone to even possibly, compete with him, they would have to be, the highest possible caliber. So how can you expect to have a banger with this current roster? You can't.
Yeah, I guess.
So the moment Jacob, he is on the move right now. Once he has moved, we've got our eye on him. Top 3, maybe even number 1. Just how powerful of an enter, the very foundation. Until that time, we've got to warehouse him on the books. So let's talk about what did occur this week.
Well, what we can't talk about is Battler's just complete humbling. Do you think that's enough to remove him from number 1?
I mean, it wasn't even that he lost. It wasn't like he lost an absolute slobber knocker against a powerful opponent. He got mostly dominated by someone I would consider below his pay grade, and he could not get it together. I think that in theory would knock him down to number 2, but who is going to take that number 1 slot over Battler right now?
Well, the obvious thing would be to say Hisoka, but he didn't wrestle this week, so I don't know how I feel.
He did not wrestle this week. Jackman, still number 1 contender. Supported.
Can we move Jackman to the top 3 yet?
Until I'm saying, if Jackman wins, he could shoot to number 1. Until
the problem this week is that everyone in the top 3 from our top 3 last week either lost a pretty embarrassing match or did not compete at all. Dante lost in embarrassing
fashion.
Let's
talk about someone who's been on top and has just won a very definitive match. I propose Ricky Bobby number 1. Your thoughts?
Woo! Okay, hold on. That actually caught me off guard. Ricky Bobby number 1. I can't say you're wrong. He has just been absolutely dominating every single opponent that's thrown at him.
And I mean, he is the Forbidden Door. He started, well, actually Thanos started this, but Ricky Bobby is finishing it.
Yes.
We're talking about his title run in the same breath but we talk about Pegasus's. So his ability to just completely dominate and embarrass the TFR roster. Not maybe not the pin. He's not out here pinning Chris Redfield, but he is in a dominant position week after week. Against all odds. And we haven't seen him cutting promos or applying his gimmick in the same way he would in G1, but just the intrigue surrounding him, Door, we're calling him Door, he debuted, and his gateway from the biggest company jump in the history of AEW is, I want Ricky Bobby. So I think that's a testament to how big Ricky Bobby has gotten.
I think Ricky Bobby right now is second to none in TFR, in G1 probably. He's second to none. And just like he always says, if you ain't first, you're last. I think I agree with you. Put Ricky Bobby at number 1.
I think Ricky Bobby first.
Put him up there.
Battler's still second. I would not
Battler's
drop him
still
to third.
second. That is not.
He's still Battler, for God's sakes.
Yes.
And for number 3,
this is the interesting.
I can't in good faith put Hisoka at 3 because he still hasn't wrestled. I also can't in good faith put Dante or Vorgan on because they lost pretty definitively in a tag match. Do we put a tough enough guy in top 3?
I was about to say the same thing, and I think we're both going to say Sam Flam. Is that right?
Sam Flam
or Boogie?
Well, Boogie got.
I don't know. I kind of like.
And
Boogie did get 2 eliminations, but I kind of like Sam Flam's aura more. Boogie could put on a banger.
Okay, actually, Jackman did wrestle this week, and he lost.
Yes, true.
So, I feel like maybe that's not the best for him going into a title match with Hisoka whenever that occurs. But I feel like some of that aura has kind of rubbed off onto, our Tough Enough, our heroes. I feel like it is kind of a shame that like we're saying it's either SamFlam or Boogie Woogie, and just Tatsuya is just not on that level as them. Because Tatsuya has the potential, but I feel like SamFlam and Boogie are just there now.
Yes. And that's not to knock on Tatsuya. Absolutely not. Don't get us rigged. Don't get us wrong.
I think the deciding factor is if we go off of the momentum of last week, Boogie came in shockingly last place. He did terrible, and SamFlam won last week, and now they've both excelled. So off of that, I think SamFlam could actually slot into number 3.
Yeah. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna put him in 3.
I think he's got it.
All right. So
we've got it, pal.
We've got 2 G1s and a TFR in the top 3. Let's talk about the bottom 3. I know, and the funny thing is, we even came in here thinking like we're gonna put an AEW guy in top 3 this week, like Nature's Healing, but that didn't happen. I guess. I guess because the competition was just that much better, specifically G1 and everything happening in Japan.
I thought Nero was going to do it, but Nero just did not wrestle a Nero match in that Blood and Guts match. He couldn't get it together. So, but I will say
he let real life issues get in the way.
And I don't blame him.
I don't blame him. No.
If Dante assaulted his wife on air in front of everyone, and it wasn't like a quick thing. It was torturously prolonged. Yes. And it made everyone uncomfortable. I understand why, but I'm not putting you in the top 3 out of pity. So
let's talk about the bottom 3 now. We already know Beltway's staying at number 1. This is not a discussion.
Beltway. He had a chance to not be the absolute worst, and he couldn't even give us that.
He fumbled that. He fumbled it just like Triple H fumbled Swerve.
He was in a match with Masked Saihara for the world title, and he couldn't even get up the top 1. So Beltway still very definitively bottom number 1, just absolutely atrocious.
Now we could talk about. No, we can't, because number 2 is obvious as well. It's Dante. After those despicable actions,
we warned him last week. We got this learning tree, this Quillfoth. We have our eye on you. If you give us a reason, we will slam you in this bottom 3. He gave us. I almost want to put him above Beltway. If Beltway had done not as bad as usual, I would have honestly considered putting Dante number 1. But just Beltway managed to deliver Beltway tier awfulness. So
he's
Dante
just that much worse. But sexual assault worse, or not as bad as being a shitter.
I would rather be sexually assaulted than watch a Beltway match.
No, you can't say that. You can't say that.
I would rather be sexually assaulted by Dante than watching a Beltway match, which is that. I think I stand by that. But Dante, solid number 2, and then although.
Okay, now the interesting part is who's number 3. This is actually going to be a discussion, I think. Or no, it's not. It's quote. Fuck.
I know you hate Tim. I know you despise Tim.
No, but quote was just absolutely dog shit this week. Even more so than normal.
Tim botched this week, but it was funny. I can let him slide. Quote made me very unhappy this week. So
I see someone saying well, why not Sam? Well, the difference is that Sam is Sam and quote is quote. Right.
Sam didn't do anything wrong in that match. Sam's biggest mistake was that he agreed to a match with quote. So
yes,
he wasn't out there shitting up. He was doing his best to not implode. And Sam's not on our top 3 radar in any way aspect. I would say he's even floundering in the mid card. Hate to see it, but he's not quote is just horrible right now. So it's not even the same discussion.
All right, so we are locking in our bottom 3. AEW has ascended a little bit. There are 2 AEWs and 1 Fed, which is different from last week, which is all AEW in the bottom 3. So maybe they're starting to turn things around. Probably not because they have
Technically
Beltway,
an
the sexual
improvement.
assaulter, and Tim.
It is technically an
But-
improvement. That's scientifically they are getting better.
All right, our September 3rd edition of Wrestling Observer Rumble has our bottom and top three locked in. For the bottom three, we have Beltway at number 1, Dante at number 2, and Quote at number 3. And in the top three, we have Ricky Bobby at number 1, Battler at number 2, and Sam Flam at number 3. Congratulations to Sam Flam. What a guy. What a new star.
I don't think anyone has to like necessarily agree with us when we say that Sam Flam is like killing it more than like guys who are signed, but I feel like if Sam Flam happens to lose Tough Enough, he will land on his feet. This is someone who could
Yes.
jump into 8. This is someone who could hang in G1 off his success in Tough Enough. That's how good he is right now.
We're not doing fantasy booking tonight. Right. We're not doing fantasy booking tonight, but I am deathly curious. I am deathly curious to see.
There's always time for fantasy booking.
Yeah, but I mean, I am deathly curious to see a Mechazawa and Sam Flam 1v1. Deathly curious.
Boogie is like the most consistently victorious. He wins definitively and impressively. I just want to see the aura of Sam Flam and Mechazawa, like this larger than life superhero Sam Flam versus the ultimate everyman Mechazawa, who has that little something you can't quite put your finger on, just clashing in that ring. That's money to me. That's dimes.
Absolutely.
And I would call this an improvement over last week. Any other predictions? We made some predictions last week. Not a lot of them came true.
Not a lot of them came true. My first prediction is that Waka still does not take her clothes off.
God fucking damn it.
I'm sorry, but it's inevitable.
No, I know.
My second prediction is that Ricky Bobby is still going to have the King of Jobbers belt.
I would not. I'm saying if there was ever a time to like try to flip the odds and consider TFR finally takes it back, this is the one.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Number 12. I wouldn't bet my life on Ricky Bobby losing. That would be foolish. But I would. This is the one week I wouldn't bet the farm on Ricky winning. Like TFR is gonna have to sit down, and it could be Door, with Red and Colombo, his 2 stable members, and no one else, or they could go completely out of left field. Pegasus, we didn't see him this week. He could be in transit.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Pegasus wasn't here this week. That's a shame. I like the little storyline they got going on there.
Yeah, and like I said, they could be in. Last time they said they were on their way to Mexico. Could that be heartwarming Latinx championship? Could that be Colombo Spice? Who knows?
I think next week is gonna have all eyes. Next week's gonna have all eyes glued onto wrestling, for sure, as it should be, as God intended.
Week, Friday
this
night,
week,
3 days.
Yes, this week. My apologies.
And I think with that, let's get a few more super chats and then take it from there.
All right, let me open up the super chats here. We got a $20 from intern Coonigan, who sent a lot more super chats. Thoughts on the 9-2 celebration yesterday?
I was feeling zesty in Atlanta. That's all I got to say about that.
Then he sends $100, who says Sue or Liz.
Kyria, obviously.
Of course.
Yeah,
Myron sent a super chat, but he is probably going to cash it back after you said that, so no need to read that. Intercom then sends $10 more. Do you think it was a waste to use a megastar Kishimakoma just once before writing him off?
I mean, I think that in any other situation, I would hear you out, but like saying that anyone being disposed of by Jacob was a disappointment, like you just need to adjust your expectations, realize that Jacob is here, and you got to be like practically invulnerable to stand a chance.
OP sends $5. I am literally shaking right now. Shiki and Battler couldn't even beat Tamashiro and Koma. How will they stand a chance against Jacob? I can't take it anymore, Familia. All I can think about is Jacob, and it's all because of Amalgam. Jacob has ruined my life. I haven't been able to sleep for weeks. Every time I get in my car, I feel like he's following me. I can't even eat. I'm so worried about what he's going to do to Shiki and Los Leones. It is evident that there is no comment on that. Pyro Wiki. Oh,
I was
Pyro Wiki
dumbfounded
Man.
by Jacob. I apologize.
Yes. No, I am too. Pyro Wiki Man sends undefined super chat. Is it true that he will be arriving soon?
Worm. That's all I got to say about that.
Bring me Worm. I agree.
Bring me Worm.
Euclid243 sends $80.08 saying, was your dog winked by Amakusa?
I don't know about your dog. I don't know about Op's dog, but if he tried that on my dog, he would die.
Very defensive. It's clear that the check did not clear on this day. Was there anyone else that I missed here? I don't think I missed anything. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I don't think I missed any more super chats. I think that's all said and done.
Yeah, I think that's it.
All right. You think this is the end? We're gonna conclude. We're gonna sign off.
I think now that Jacob is here, this is absolutely the end of all of us.
Yes. Well, yes, but I meant for the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll let you do your outro then.
I have an outro.
I know you're terrified of Jacob, but this is the thing we've been doing for years now. He's a little
Jacob
stage
is here.
fright from Jacob. What?
Jacob is here.
What? I can't really understand what you are. Huh? Oh. Oh.
Your time